Going live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to an OSPlays live stream of Ghosts of Tsushima. I am Bloo, and I am joined by Red.
Hello.
And hopefully, we won't have some crippling audio issues this time. Let us know how we're going in the comments. Hopefully, I'm actually able to be heard, unlike last week when we played Uncharted 2. And I could not be heard for the first 5 minutes of the stream. That's okay.
2 minutes.
It's only my own idiot fault. But that's alright. We're going to have some fun just doing some samurai shit. What else do you need? I am a little bit into Ghost of Tsushima, not terribly far. This far, if that means anything to you. We're going to do some side stuff, maybe a main story or two, but I don't want to go too heavy on spoilers in case you haven't played it yet. The first act of the game kind of splits you up into a couple different directions as you're put on go recruit a bunch of people to do a thing duty. So there's kind of like 5 concurrent narratives going at once, which is honestly a good way to do it. I feel like it's it's kind of reminiscent to the ways that some Kurosawa movies go, where there's like a bunch of different things kind of happening at once. Also feels very reminiscent of like, there is an invasion in your homeland. You got a lot of plates to keep spinning in the air, buddy boy.
For research purposes, since this is an era of history that neither of us are super well acquainted with, but the game itself doesn't seem to be super. Well, I mean, we can't really tell how historical it is because we don't really know. Like, you know, we can't tell a 13th century thing from a 15th century thing, you feel me? Instead, I've been studiously researching Kurosawa films, by which I mean I've been watching a bunch of Kurosawa films, so I'm well acquainted with the tropes at play here, which is really, I think, all the information you need. I mean, you know, history is, it's ephemeral, whereas tropes and stories are forever.
Yeah. The funny thing about the historical basis for this game is that, you know, the Mongol invasion of Japan 1274 was a real thing. But as anyone who has studied the great and all-important work known as the history of the entire world, I guess, you'll know that the Mongols tried to invade Japan and then died in a typhoon, and then tried again and died in a typhoon. So the original invasion of Japan was on 3 islands. Tsushima. Oh, let's follow this fox. Hello, little spirit of Inari. What you got for us? It was the island of Tsushima, I think, and then 2 other places whose names I kind of like half remember but won't say because I will get them wrong and then I'll just be a doofus. But it was Tsushima, another kind of middling island in between Korea, where the operation was launched from, and like main Japan, Honshu Island, but it never got that far onto the main island. The actual invasion by the Mongols lasted like under a week because all their ships got, you know, blown to bits in port, because that's how typhoons work. So it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, the Mongols have taken over the entire thing. In real history, it would have been like, all right, wait 3 days, they'll leave because their ships are all going to be junked.
They'll get tired and hungry.
Yeah,
and
so I don't think this game is really trying all that hard for historical accuracy, but what it is trying for is aesthetic accuracy to how, you know, we all understand, like, samurai movies and Kurosawa films. And they, you know, the developers at Naughty Dog are like, look, we're not trying to fool you. We're not making a historical documentary here. We're making an homage to samurai cinema, and that's exactly what this is. So I could not tell you whether this armor is accurate to the 1270s or not. It probably isn't, because I feel like we don't have a lot of stuff from that far back. But it's definitely, like, pretty much samurai armor. Maybe not from that time, but, like, that's what samurai armor looks like. It's not, you know, like, hyper-fantasized thing like you'd see in Assassin's Creed. Whoops. Was that out loud?
Deep pull there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, because it's dedicated to recreating the aesthetic and the feel, the historical accuracy is a little bit less, prioritized. For instance, you are following magical fox spirits to quest objectives.
No, they're just normal fox spirits.
And the wind directs you to your next location.
There's nothing...
Oh, yeah, just regular fox spirits.
Do you not just, like, have the wind just forcibly yeet you towards your goals in life?
Well, you know, sometimes, but it's not like a daily occurrence, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, we're not really gonna be like picking this one apart. There are plenty of much more dedicated, more like weeb channels that are gonna be doing that in the coming weeks anyway. They're gonna be like, well, you see, this kind of blade was actually unheard of until this year, and that's why this game is bad, or you know, whatever. I mean, it's gonna happen. We all know. We've been on the internet for a while, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to celebrate storytelling and how good it is. So this is probably just gonna be a lot of like, ooh, colors and hey, swords.
Yep. Look at this. So the fun thing about the way this game is designed is that it's fucking brilliant. All of those smokestacks in the distance are various Mongol camps that you can go and liberate. The hold on, zoom in there. That little thing of steam coming up is a hot spring bath that you can go into and just reflect on life, and then
beautiful.
see your maximum health increase. We won't be going into any of those because the cutscene where you enter the bath shows Jin's full ass as he steps in. So we're not going to do that on this stream because it's a family-friendly operation. We're only killing people. We are not showing samurai butts.
Sometimes I think we're just like too monetized, you know? Sometimes I think we gotta stay humble.
Is our financial situation too secure? Do we just need to, like, you know, go on the wild side and show some samurai butt? Just
need a little controversy.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Let's go liberate this this camp. Let's go beat up some Mongols.
So, you played through the beginning of this game,
yes.
But I don't really know anything about it because it came out like days ago.
Yeah.
So, what's the situation? What's the start of your hero's journey?
Yeah. So
and I guess it's a dead wife. Is it a dead wife?
It is not actually a dead wife.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's a dead everybody else. So basically, this game starts with standoff. This is the best thing in the whole game. I'll explain why the gameplay in this is really cool. Basically, you start. The Mongols are at the beach. Damn it! I got that wrong. Oh, nuts! This is what I get. He fainted me, and I bought it, so I died. I didn't die, but like I got hit. Basically, the very first thing that happens in this game is the Mongols show up and just completely wipe all of the dudes. And you are basically the last samurai who survived the invasion at the beach. Your uncle gets captured. Your uncle gets captured and you are trying to free him, but you are one squishy samurai on your own, and the Mongols are all of the Mongols, so you need to recruit your friends to help with your attempt to you need to recruit some friends to help with getting your uncle free, because the Khan, Khotan Khan, is holed up here in Castle Canada, and you need to go bust his teeth in.
Bloo, sorry.
What's up?
Game audio's too loud.
Oh, game audio's too
apparently.
loud.
Yeah.
Let me fix that.
It's all those dang quiet contemplative moments.
Yes. Just cut this in half. Oh yeah, because that entire fight. That would have been when everyone realized it was too loud. Whoops. Just cut this in half. But yeah, basically this game spares no time in getting you right into it. Very first thing that happens is the Mongol invasion. And then it's like, alright, well, gotta go rescue my uncle. And then off you go.
Cool. Well, I can strongly respect the less cliche, differently cliche, different. It's pulling from a different well of cliches for the hero origin motivation of dead comrades, captured family, rather than dead wife and or kid, which is good. Like that.
But the Mongols are
such
watching
a.
from the crossroads above the river.
It's a bit overplayed, honestly, in the serious hairy dad genre that we live in now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that joke I thought of. Someone in chat, it just inspired a stroke of brilliance. Where if we did go to that hot spring, I guess we'd be seeing some steamed buns.
Oh.
Hey!
Oh gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. Wow, I'm so good at this. Anyway,
We're
okay,
comedic
stop
geniuses.
yelling about the Kurosawa filter, guys. We know black and white is cool, but I like colors. All right.
Yeah, the Kurosawa filter is fun, but I like being able to see everything that's going on, and I already have enough problem multitasking. I don't want to make it more difficult by... Okay, let's see if I can actually do this right this time. There we go. Yeah. Awesome. That's what it looks like when you do it right.
I'm super I'm on a bit of a joke.
Yeah. So the way that they do this standoff like mechanic is that you enter the standoff and then you hold triangle, and then when your opponent draws their sword, and they will try to feint you, and I bought it, which is why I got attacked the first time around. They'll try to feint you, and what you have to do is you hold triangle until they attack, and then you release it, and then you just cut the guy in half. So basically it mimics this like idea of, in the game world, it's like it's this tense, like you're holding, you're waiting, and then you pull the katana out of the sheath and you cut the guy in half, and that release of like tension and energy and all this stuff happening is very elegantly conveyed in you're holding down the triangle button and then you let it go, and then blood explodes everywhere. It's such a good piece of game design, and it's so well done that it captures through a mechanic the feeling of being in this standoff that just like pressing triangle at the right moment wouldn't do. The hold and release is what really makes it special.
Sorry, chat said I needed to turn up my mic, so I've upped my gain a little bit. Anyway, one thing, so seeing that scene, I actually know exactly what they pulled that from, because I watched it last night. So, for context, Kurosawa made a whole bunch of films, unsurprisingly. Some of them are actually just basically adaptations of Shakespeare. Like there's, he made this movie Throne of Blood, which is just like
I admire their
Macbeth, but Japanese.
They were supposed to meet me here hours
But he
ago.
also did this movie called
I was about to
Yojimbo,
look for them.
about
Alright.
this wandering samurai, a ronin, as it were, just kind of finding this town full of just like gang warfare and just crazy shit, and the innocent town people are suffering because these idiots are just like, you know, having turf wars and murdering each other, and he's like, I guess I can get involved, and he ends up like single-handedly
leaders
freeing the
stay at
town through
farmhouse
cunning and
nearby.
trickery and
They'll know where the main
getting
force
himself
is
hired by
coming.
bad guys and then killing bad guys and being like, oh gosh, you just missed him. It must have been like 15 dudes to have killed this many guys.
As a
with-
child,
yeah.
I
Wow,
dreamed of becoming
probably
a
went that way.
samurai.
This works like 3 times, by the way.
Riding with a real
Nice.
one.
But you know
But
how to fight.
Yojimbo
handle
did
a
really
horse.
well, and
My
then
village was
this this
constantly
next
raided
movie
by pirates
called
on the
Sanjuro
coast.
was based on this
They
book
killed my
that did
parents
not
when I was
have
young.
Sanjo's the
learned
protagonist
to
of Yojimbo
defend
as the main
myself.
character, but
I hope
the
the
character was so
skills I
popular they were
gained
like,
from
we can
hardship
put him in this, it'll
can be of
totally
use
make
to the
sense.
people
So then they
here.
made Sanjuro,
You're not so
which is
different from a
this
samurai.
movie
My lord, you
about
flatter me.
more political turmoil, more crazy shit. Basically, it's these like these 9 young samurai are like, oh man, I think there's corruption in the court, and I told my uncle, and he was like, oh, how do you know I'm not the source of the corruption? So then I told like the chamberlain, and he was like, oh gosh, that's pretty serious. Have you like told anyone else about this? Like anyone who would miss you? Oh wow,
There's a
that's
fire up
great.
ahead.
Listen, you
The
and all
farmhouse.
of your like friends should definitely come meet me in
Yeah.
this abandoned part of the woods later. It's great. No, yeah, we'll totally discuss solving the corruption problem. And Sanjuro, who's napping in the next room of this abandoned temple, comes out like, all right, I gotta step in before you idiots get yourself killed, and I feel responsible. And then the rest of the movie is just him like helping out these 9 like naive young samurai who are like, oh, we'll charge right in, and he's like, or you could do literally anything else and not die. Just a thought, you know. I don't know. Not like I know what's going on here. But like in all Kurosawa movies, basically, there is one dedicated bad guy who is actually serious business. In Yojimbo, that dedicated bad guy is the guy who has the gun, which is like a common thing in samurai movies, because in the Meiji era, when swords were being phased out and guns were becoming like a thing, it was almost this symbolic thing of like, the old ways are dying, the new ways are killing them, and you know, you can be the best swordsman in the world, but if someone has a gun, it doesn't really matter how skilled they are. You know, that kind of situation. So that in that movie, the bad guy is the guy with the gun, and you're like, uh-oh, this guy's bad news. And he's also like smarter
are
than the
men
other
I'm
bad guys.
supposed
He
to meet.
sees through Sanjuro a couple times. But
If the Mongols found them,
in Sanjuro,
the main
the
force
bad
too.
guy who you
should've
actually need
come
to keep an
sooner.
eye on is this like samurai
still
dude
warn
who's
the others.
working for the Chamberlain, and he is Chamberlain. I don't remember.
Might have found the main
I
force.
watched it last night, but that doesn't mean I remember the plot and all that like, detail.
Hurry, my
Anyway,
lord.
Wait.
he's like the only other guy who's kind of on the same page as Sanjuro. Like they've got a similar vibe. Everyone else is running around embroiled in political turmoil. He's just like, yeah, you know, my boss sucks, but I am a loyal samurai to my lord, so I'm just gonna kind of see this out. I mean, he sucks, I suck. It's really kind of a match made in heaven. But when Sanjuro tricks and defeats them and you know, saves the day, this guy is like, we gotta resolve this with a super kick-ass samurai showdown in the final
Too late.
3 minutes of the movie. So you can guess it's not gonna be like a very drawn-out fight. And in fact, what happens is
can't
Sanjuro's
save
like, I
everyone.
don't want to do this. I don't want to
Then I
fight
will
you.
avenge
One of
the
us is gonna
dead.
die,
Sunlight
and by one
remains
of us, I
calm
mean
before a
you. And
fight.
the guy's like, my honor will accept no other outcome.
Wait.
And then they stare at each other for 30 unbroken seconds. And then the guy swings and Sanjuro cuts him in half and he explodes. Because, as many people pointed out to me on Twitter, the blood pump malfunctioned and just like blasted out with like the pressure of a fire hose. But the guy, to his credit, was like, I'm just gonna roll with this, and then fell over. And everyone was like, wow.
Beautiful.
Such high pressure blood. Uh-oh, there's lag.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh, damn it. We were doing so well.
It's okay. But, you know, we'll live. I mean, there's nothing we can really do about it.
Indigo just
but
texted
anyway,
me to up the
he
mic
cuts the dude
volume,
in
so
half.
I did it again, just in case, but we will see.
Sounds good. But yeah, so that exact scene where they're just like staring at each other for 30 unbroken seconds, waiting for one of them to move, and then the guy moves, and then he just gets instantly like taken out, slices and diced. It's the quintessential samurai showdown scene, and it's definitely one of those things that would have been less effective if it hadn't been in one shot, really. Like, I'm pretty sure their whole, like, I don't want to fight you, yeah, well, you gotta honor and stuff, blah, blah, blah. I think that was just, like, a oneer. And then the 30 unbroken seconds of, like, staring, it's like, I don't know, that would have been really hard to act.
Yeah, I
Like,
can imagine.
all right, now I need you guys to stare at just say your lines, stare at each other like you want to murder each other for 30 straight seconds, and then the minute you move faster and cut through him. And it's
Yeah.
like, Jesus, okay, sure. And how many takes do we get? 1. This blood pump is crazy. So, yeah, I think there's a lot more quick cuts in modern cinema, and it's not just to, like, make it easier on the actors, but it definitely does. But it also kind of, I don't know, it sort of pulls you out. You don't even notice how much more immersed you are when this actually has been one contiguous scene with complex blocking and the camera moving through this building while this stuff is happening. You know, I mean, I don't really know that much about cinematography, so I'm kind of just talking in terms of like, ooh, pretty. I liked when they did the stabbing part, but, you know, it's really good.
Yeah.
And, it's the samurai showdown that defined the way they make it work in this game.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna speak with the woman to end this this quest here. Where is she? And then I'm going to see if we can play around with any settings
did it.
to make this not garbage.
Skill.
Sounds
I
good.
nearly died rushing
Damn,
about.
every
Won't
single
the
time.
Mongols anger you?
A samurai's most
Crazy
important
slideshow,
weapon
yeah, I'm
is
sure.
himself. Lose
Nuts.
control,
Okay.
you risk defeat.
Let me see.
I should return
Settings.
home. Learn to master my
'Cause
emotions.
I really like
Keep
the idea
fighting.
of the audience actually being able to see what's going on.
Remember the lesson.
It would be nice.
I will,
It's
my
a very
lord.
pretty game.
People keep talking about bitrate, and I don't know what that actually.
There's a
does.
setting in OBS.
Yeah.
If the bitrate gets too high, it struggles. But like, you have to set the cap for the bitrate before the stream starts, and we didn't. So.
Can I click the button that says stop streaming and then do that and then click the start streaming button?
I
Theoretically?
don't know. That might just kill the stream dead. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's looking really smooth on my end now. So, whatever was happening, it might just be that the game, like, when a lot is happening, it gets a little bit taxing on the processor, like how Uncharted was lagging, but like other stuff wasn't so much.
I don't know why it was working and then suddenly wasn't. That's.
Internet man, it's a cruel mistress.
Says we're good now?
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay.
Well, sort
Guess
of
we're
good. It's a little bit. It's I feel like on a certain level we're trying to control the weather here.
Yeah.
We do assorted random things, and then every once in a while the clouds part, and we're like, okay, write that down. Whatever we just did worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darn. Well, let's just go past here and go to the coast and see if there's anything pretty to look at. And then we can go to a Mongol camp and see if we can find anything neat to stab. Come on. Jump. Fine. Ow. But you were mentioning
it's
like
getting
the position
chunky.
that guns hold in those movies that are all kind of set in and around the Meiji era. I'm just imagining like the last surviving samurai at Komoda Beach, Jin Sakai, fights the Mongols with only his wits and a gun.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this very interesting like interconnected lattice of tropes about specifically samurai movies. And the unique role of guns and gunmen is very interesting. Okay. You know what? Chat is saying like just try turning the stream off and on again.
All right, let's try that.
All right.
All right,
Well,
our audio's
hopefully-
gonna dip, but we'll be back in a second. Let's see if this works.
Hopefully. See you soon.
Okay. Now we're gonna click the start button again. All right, we are back in.
We're back.
Yep, we're streaming again. Let's see
Okay,
if
okay.
this
Hey!
works. We cut the bit rate. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, I am sorry.
Chat, I'm a little bit disappointed in you, I'm not gonna lie. You're the ones who told us to briefly cut out the stream, and now you're like, oh my god, the stream is over!
I mean,
Come
granted,
on,
like,
you
I
guys.
wish that my internet was better, that we didn't have to worry about this in the first place. But I don't know why it only started being a problem recently. We were playing all kinds of games earlier in the year.
You know.
Sad.
Yeah, who knows?
Come on.
Yep. Anyway, it looks a lot smoother now, so hopefully that stops being, well,
Sweet.
but mostly smoother.
It's
You
getting-
know what? It's fine. It's
getting
fine.
its
After
bearings.
a certain point, you're
It's
just like,
getting its bearings.
yeah. After a certain point, you're just polishing dirt. All right, there's no point.
Yeah. Indigo was like, "Hey, let me know if you want me to make like a supercut of Uncharted." And I said, "I appreciate the sentiment. However, there is no usable footage from Uncharted.
Yeah.
Like a great podcast, but no footage.
Yeah.
No footage. Nuts.
I mean, it's all right. It's a little bit jittery, but it's not like slideshow exactly.
Oh, Yellow says that would kill the stream dead briefly, but if you want to fix it, bitrate or 220 is where mine's at. Also go to advanced and tick the box. Dynamically change bitrate when dropping frames. Ah, let's try that.
Oh damn. Okay, wait. So
I
we're
didn't
gonna
know that
kill
was
the
a
stream
box.
again?
I don't know if
Alright.
we need to.
Oh, I think we do. I don't think it lets you alter the bitrate during the stream.
Where is dynamically drop the thing while losing frames?
It might not be available on your kind of computer. OBS is a little bit finicky like that.
No, Yellow uses OBS, so...
Well, yeah, but he might be using a different kind of computer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah. Dynamically. Okay.
Oh.
Dynamically change bitrate to manage congestion. Beta. Do we trust
I mean, it can't
beta?
make it worse, can it?
It can make it worse. All right, we'll be back in 2 seconds. Click the button.
more
And
time?
we're going back, and we are streaming again.
Okay.
I think.
Alrighty.
All right. Let us
Well,
see
it looks
how
nice.
this works.
It looks nice now that we're standing still.
Yeah.
Whew.
Looks okay. Looks okay on my end for right now. We'll see if that lasts. And
I
then
mean,
if
yeah.
it's terrible, then maybe we don't play as long. But nah.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Wanted to show you all this fun game.
and
Here I am getting styled on by my own internet, which had otherwise been so nice. Oh no, she's choppy. She's choppy.
It's a little bit chunky, but honestly, like it's smoothing out, sorta.
Come on. Let me jump off of this small ledge. I know I'll lose health. I don't care. I have bigger problems.
It's the way of the samurai.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a little bit chunky, but it's dropping way fewer frames now.
Okay. We'll need to change OSP stream bingo to slideshow. Remember back in the good old days
No.
when audio issues were our only problem? I mean, our audio has been crisp today.
Yeah.
Except for the fact
Yeah,
that the
I
game
mean,
was
let-
louder than we were. Oh man.
You guys were like, oh, OSP's audio issues are terrible. If only they'd get better. And a finger curls on the monkey's paw.
Additional settings, auto stop, 260 video, added delay.
It's honestly way smoother now. Like, it looks great. All right.
Let's see where we're going. We are following the wind that way to the Mongol camp, which will be where we're going. The thing I love about this game and how it makes you navigate the world, or how it encourages you to navigate the world, is that there's no compass, there's no minimap, there's no quest markers, there is only the wind, which will gracefully push you towards where you're going. It's
Heck yeah.
so smart. Let's do another standoff. And it's great because there's so many moving pieces in the game world. Hold on. There we go.
That's smooth.
There's
That's
so many moving
beautiful.
pieces in the game world that the grass will blow in the right direction, the leaves will blow in the right direction, everything will go in the right way beyond just like the actual wind itself.
Beautiful. I love it. Okay, well now it looks incredibly crisp.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think we're good. Like any small amounts of jittering, I think, will correct themselves, which is good because that means we can stream more of this without it being tortuous on the eyeballs. Anyway, we were talking about samurai tropes, I think.
Yeah, samurai tropes, and then
although-
everything went to
Right.
garbage.
Yeah, technology emerged and ruined everything. And anyway, yeah, so the role that guns play and swords play in samurai films is very interesting because it's like the simplest symbolism in the world for old world versus new.
I thought I had made myself a camp along the river that separates Asamo from
Indigo
Tsushima.
is messaging me fun facts about
Mongols
Teenage
moved
Mutant
in,
Ninja Turtles.
cutting down all the
I-
trees.
Oh, I see.
I don't know what could have
Indigo
prompted
said-
that.
Actually, it's about what we were just talking about. Indigo says, fun fact, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time, also used the gun to indicate its bad guy as a faithful homage to the films that inspired it. The more you know.
Wow, I was planning for a shitpost, and that was actually very insightful. I shouldn't have been so quick to judge either Indigo or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yet here I was, the awful person that I am. But that's actually really cool.
Oh, real quick, just before we completely leave the Ninja Turtles behind,
Yeah.
fun fact, the creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is like super close bros with Stan Sakai, the creator of the comic Usagi Yojimbo, which I highly recommend. And people who have watched Ninja Turtles probably know this character because he has cameoed in basically every single version because they are friends. Like, they keep writing in crossovers.
That's funny.
It is so funny, and it was one of those cases where, like, in the early days, you know, indie comics creators were all kind of sticking together, and then Ninja Turtles got huge, and Usagi Yojimbo only got, like, pretty big, or, like, popular in certain circles. So it's just really cute that they kind of kept up this
Yeah.
fun little exchange. Anyway, highly recommend. It's really good. Also, it is absolutely full of Kurosawa references. It was one of those things where, like, I would be watching one of the movies and be like, oh, they did this plotline 4 times, and they did this bit twice, and actually, at one point, because Stan Sakai is such a good researcher, I used one of his comics as like a visual reference for the clothing styles of an era before I could find references for, because somehow he'd found references for it, and I was like, oh, amazing. So,
Yeah.
just super good. Look it up, Usagi Yojimbo. It just means rabbit bodyguard in Japanese. It's awesome. I love it. Anyway,
Let's go stab this guy. The funny thing is that in this game you use your little Tanto dagger as the assassinate blade, whereas typically the Tanto is reserved for when you have to kill yourself. If you goof badly enough that you have to commit seppuku, which I always confuse which one's harakiri and which one's seppuku. I think.
they are the same thing.
Oh, okay, they're the same thing.
I think
wasn't
one of
sure
them
if one of them
might
was
even
like.
be misreading the characters.
I thought one of them
Sorry,
was
go ahead.
like when you stab yourself, and the other one's when the other guy cuts your head off. But I don't know enough to talk about this, so I'm just gonna stop. But it is cool that
they're the same thing.
The samurai finds a different use for that typically ceremonial weapon. One of the interesting things about how the story in this game goes is that basically all of the flashbacks that Jin has is to his uncle being like, and you know, you only fight people head on, because only like a cheap lying asshole would dare to just lie and sneak and be like assassin-y and stab from the shadows, because that's like a really garbage thing to do. And Jin's like, nah, but I gotta. So there's a fun little cognitive dissonance there. But it is a little bit wonky. Ooh, found a bad guy. There's a little bit of cognitive dissonance because there is like no, you know, getting penalized for playing sneakily, but every single fiber of Jin's body is trying to fight against like this ghost style combat where you're you know, sneaky and stabby and not, you know, yelling your position to everyone in a 40-mile radius to come and fight you head on. So a little bit of story gameplay friction, but it's not that bad.
That's kind of interesting. It's like giving you a soft moral choice system where you're like, I won't lose anything by doing this, but I'll feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of like, I mean, again, that's actually a bit of like very good gameplay story integration, because that's how the main character feels about this. He's like, I won't lose anything except a certain amount of personal honor and comfort by doing things this way, but I gotta. They're Mongols.
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me actually is that's the first time where I'm like, oh, that's like directly contradictory to some Kurosawa stuff. Because Sanjuro, that protagonist character, he's very sneaky. He's like a full-on trickster hero. There's some things he's upfront about, but he like lies and misleads people a lot. And there's this very interesting thing they do, especially in Yojimbo, where he's completely honest and upfront with the innocent townspeople, but he lies constantly to the bad guys. But the audience always knows what he's really thinking because we've already heard it. So like the audience kind of has this third-person omniscient thing, while the characters only know what he tells them, but we know everything.
That's very cool.
Anyway, it is. But it lets us see like there's certain things he doesn't do exactly. Like when he's fighting, he doesn't like backstab people or cheat them, but he does ambush people and kill them and kind of like. The fact is, all of his fights are unfair because he's just like that good. He's way better than everybody.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Yojimbo where he kills this house full of guards. It's like, I don't know, maybe 12 guys. And he just kills them all way too fast for them to react. And then he trashes the house and he's like, yeah, it must have been like a whole small army. It was crazy. They went that way. And then in Sanjuro, he one-ups that and kills like 30 guys in this entire courtyard. Because he has to rescue these idiots that got themselves captured. And he's like, well, damn it. Okay, I guess it's murder time. But it's interesting that this protagonist isn't quite fitting the mold of, you know, I'll be honorable about certain things and in certain contexts, and like if it's a samurai duel, we'll do it the right way. But these guys, I can just like murk because they gotta die, and I have a sword, so whatevs. And I kind of like that actually. Like it's not just picking and choosing different parts of classic samurai movies. There's a certain amount of unique character to this guy, and I like that.
I'm probably gonna end up actually dying here. Can I real quick go into my my menu here and get some extra bonuses here?
The visuals are really smooth, man. This is
right.
great.
Yeah,
So
strike.
pretty.
Dash and strike. Oh, I like that. Yeah, let's try that. I watched a Mark Brown video from Game Maker's Toolkit about skill trees as I was starting this game, because I'm like, how good are the skill trees? And basically all the things he said of like what to do with skill trees are basically being done here, where it's like, don't have your skill trees be like really crappy, like, you know, minor percentage changes to the damage system on the game's underlying Excel spreadsheet. Like, actually get new abilities so that you feel like you are increasing in complexity as you go. That's a lot more interesting than just like, yes, you've spent a skill point on a 0.2% increase to this very specific, you know, kind of damage. And then, of course, that's basically, you know, exactly what they're doing with this game, where all of the changes that you get actually have like meaningful impacts on gameplay. And there are a bunch of different things that are changed in addition to like there are techniques you can use. There are benefits to your like your sidearms and your... Oh no, damn it. No reinforcements. There are benefits to your like archery and like tool pouches and stuff. But then there's also different stances that you can use in the game. Sorry about that. So right now I'm in the water stance, which is really good against shield guys. I can switch to the stone stance, which is very good against sword guys. And then the moves that you use are different. So if I hold triangle in stone stance, it's this really cool stab. Whereas if I hold triangle in water stance, it's this cool kind of like quick combo. So the way that complexity is doled out is really, really good because it manifests in all these different ways with like, you know, sheer sword upgrades, new techniques. Oh wait, hold on. You thought you could get away. New techniques and lots of other things throughout the course of the game. So it's nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. The one other thing that's worth mentioning is that I was actually really impressed with how nuanced they've managed to portray the Mongols, even though they are unambiguously the bad guys. You meet Khotun Khan very early on in the game as he's there for the invasion, and his big monologue at the beginning is like, "What did you do this morning when you were preparing? You sharpened your sword, but I was studying. I learned about your geography. I learned about your people. I know which villages to tame. I know which villages to burn. I've learned everything I can about you, which makes me so much more ferocious, you know, than if I was just some big, you know, strong dummy, you know, marching in here." And I really like that they actually go out of their way to portray him as smart, when a lot of media could easily just go into, yes, these are the bad guys. They're the Mongols. They're dumb and have no redeeming qualities.
Ha.
You know, you don't have to like the Mongols to recognize that they didn't get where they were by being dumb. So I really appreciated that they do actually show a good amount of nuance in their portrayal of these guys. So I thought that was cool.
That is cool. That's kind of another samurai movie / Kurosawa thing where the bad guy to watch out for is the one who knows what you're up to.
Yeah.
Like, most of the bad guys will be caught up in political intrigue or their own motivations or freaking out or getting tricked. You gotta watch out for the one who, like, lingers for a few seconds after the other ones have left and, like, looks suspiciously around and then leaves. Because that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one with a brain, and that's the one you gotta watch out for.
I saw a flock of birds circling in the sky, my lord. I went to see where they were and found the most beautiful place. I sat
I do like that you can get side quests just by like finding people hanging around in the world, and it's not like a bunch of, you know, exclamation point quest markers dotting up your map. You only get the side quests if you organically find them, which is really, really smart, because then you feel like you're constantly discovering things as opposed to, oh, I guess I'll do this one, and I guess I'll do that one, I guess I'll do that one. You know, in Assassin's Creed, it's just like, here is icon soup that's strewn across your map. But in this, it's like you only get the quotes, or you only get the quests, the quotes. You only get the quests that you find, so you never have, you know, more stuff than you need. And if you don't want to explore and you want to beeline the story, you'll beeline the story, and you won't even get the distractions in your way. You'll only get it if you go out of your way to find it. Oh, can I upgrade my swords? I can upgrade my swords. Sweet. All right. Cool. All right.
Oh, Blue,
Yeah.
chat is implying that you are a bit quiet.
I can change that. Ta-da.
Good.
Red, did you hear me get louder? Because I upped my gain.
Oh, yeah, I think you're louder.
Cool.
Cool.
I'm also standing a little bit away from the mic because I have to keep a couple things in front of me between the laptop, the microphone, the television, my mug of tea, which actually I'm just going to refill this real quick because I'm dangerously low on jasmine tea. Oh, that's the good shit. Yeah. All right. I'm drinking out of one of my favorite mugs, which is a mug that is in the shape of an elephant. So it's got a little snoot coming out the front.
Oh! That's criminally
It's
adorable.
good. Yeah, it's good. Cleo is napping somewhere. She's hiding, the little scamp. She's either in the closet napping on my shoes or underneath the bed, which are her two favorite places to go and skulk away to.
Oh, magnificent.
Yeah. I sent Red a picture the other day. I might post it on Twitter later of Cleo looking her most orbed that I've ever seen her. Like, her hind legs were tucked in. She just looked like the tiniest, like, chunkiest little sausage of a cat. Whereas usually she's very, like, long and, like, stretched out and slender. Cleo is just on the kitchen table, like, ready to pounce, like a slinky, scrunched up real tight. It was hilarious.
She's adorable. It's not fair. Oh wow, chat with some real spicy takes about how jasmine tea is bad and other things are better. You guys.
Jasmine tea is undeserving of this slander. Ooh, fuck! That's a bear.
What?
You'll see in a second.
Oh, please tell me you can sword fight the bear.
Yes, but it doesn't go well.
Well, that's just true to life.
Every bear encounter
Wow,
that I've ever
that
had,
bear.
I have died.
Yeah, wow.
Oh yeah, see how you
That
assholes
thing's
like it.
wrecked shop. Oh, beautiful.
Hey, bear, team. Team? Oh,
Hey, bear? What the fuck?
I also want to talk about samurai with bear. That samurai can get it. It's always, I don't know why, it's always that BDG quote that I find the most applicable, and I have more
Hey.
BDG quotes rattling around in my brain, but that's always the one I default to.
Sorry, 2,000 concurrent viewers. What's cracking? How y'all
Woo.
doing? Woo!
Let's find some more Mongols. I also love that since, obviously, like, I have not finished this side activity, there are some people in this camp who were completely unaware of the fact that a bear just stormed in and started wreaking havoc.
Same shit as always.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Ooh. It's back now, because I'm on a delay. But I just saw the bit where, like, it kind of focus modes and you're in color and everything else is in black and white. I really like that.
It's really good. Oops. Nope. Go back. That's not what I wanted to do. I recognize that that's the button I pushed, but that's not what I wanted to do. R2, the right trigger in this game, has a lot of responsibilities. So sometimes you end up doing things you don't necessarily mean to. R2 is loot, it's change stance, and it's also crawl through little crevasses in the walls. Oop, heck. So sometimes you end up doing things that you don't necessarily intend.
So, just noticing some of this fighting stuff. I haven't played, like, the Arkham games, but I've been told that that specific mode of, like, it's you versus a whole room full of moops has kind of been adopted by a lot of other games. Do you think it had an effect in sort of how it works in this game?
I think comparing this game to Arkham is a little bit reductive, because this game has a lot more complexity built in just by virtue of the stance system. I think there are, certainly comparisons that can be made in terms of like, oh, it's you versus a big wall of goons, but I think there's a lot more that's going on with light attack, heavy attack, with the parry system, which is a little more complex than the way that Arkham plays out. I'm not trying to diss the Arkham combat, it's really good and it gives you the satisfaction of just mowing through a room of bad guys, but this game is more deliberate and puts you in fights with fewer enemies so that each one ends up being more of a challenge to juggle, as opposed to, if you're in a fight with 17 bad guys, it kind of plays the same as if you're in a fight with like 10 bad guys, because you're just going to be juggling and bouncing and hopping between them all fight long. Whereas in this game, being wildly outnumbered is really, really, really bad, and makes it vastly more complicated. So I think that there are certainly, comparisons that you can make, but I wouldn't read too closely into it, because the combat in this game really is its own thing that should be... There's a fly. Get out of here. That should be considered as its own entity.
Right. No, it's just interesting because I'm comparing this to, kind of samurai movie style fight choreography.
Yeah.
Which is, because it was done by like real actors with swords, a little more grounded in reality and
Yeah.
like what can actually be done. And just kind of watching your dude like flip around and backhand spring away from danger, it's like, all right, that's cool, but
Yeah.
and I'm almost wondering if the increased movement almost reduces the impact to a certain degree, where like one of the things that Kurosawa was really good at is like maximizing effect from minimal movement. Like
Yeah.
you know, most of the showdowns were like not even the camera was moving. It's like completely still, and then the minute one of them moves, the fight is over.
Yeah.
And obviously that's something they incorporate in the showdown mode, where you know you're like hold, strike, and then you win.
Yeah.
But most of the like when it's just you versus a room full of bad guys,
Yeah.
they don't quite do that thing where you're like
Yeah.
dancing through them and each one is a single stroke battle, because that would be you'd be too powerful. You
Exactly.
know, like it can't work by movie logic, because the power of a protagonist
Yeah.
is not one that a player is allowed to abuse most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting, you know, watching the concessions that had to be made, because almost like when I was watching you like, you know, fight and back roll away from stuff, I was like, this is a bit Dark Soulsy. Like they wind up and swing, and then you roll to avoid
it's a
which
dance
is
in
very
the way
much
that,
not samurai movie. Yeah.
I think people in a classic case of misunderstanding what a very influential piece of media did right. The thing with Dark Souls is the thing with Dark Souls is I'm gonna get mauled to death by 3 bears. The thing with
They're back for revenge.
yeah. The thing with Dark Souls is that it's not just that it's hard, it's that it's a dance. And that's what a lot of games that try to mimic Dark Souls combat miss. So like Assassin's Creed slavishly tried to copy the combat system of Dark Souls, but failed because they didn't make it work like a dance. Oh, that's a bird. Wait, Golden Burb. Golden Burb, tell me your secrets. Where'd he go?
Gold
Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh, there it is. Whereas this game, I feel like, has more of the dance-like quality to it. You know, because there's this dynamic between like rolling and parrying and attacking and juggling a very minimal number of enemies, and you know, adapting to which kind of person you're fighting at this very second, and using stone stands for swordsmen, and using it's a hot spring.
Oh boy.
Oh no. Are we gonna do it?
I mean, it's up to you, man.
Fuck it. We don't make money on streams anyway.
Cover your
real
eyes,
quick,
children.
I'm gonna go turn on the fan because I'm getting a little toasty in here.
Oh yeah, and things are about to get pretty hot. Oh my god, the sound. Okay. Are y'all ready?
Okay, the fan is on. I'm sorry if it's loud, but it got up to about 87 degrees in here. Oh, Cleo, you were in the closet. Oh, come out.
Hey!
Come on, take a seat. Oh, did I
Yeah.
wake you up because I turned on the fan? I'm sorry. One of the things I like about this game is the implication that what a lot of people tell you when you're first getting started with these quests and learning about the like the hot springs and stuff is that, oh, you know, even though you're doing a lot of important work, you need to go to the hot spring. You need to like rest your mind, rest your soul. The implication that even when there are Mongols happening, self-care is important. And I like that is hammered home in a lot of ways. There's one guy who's like, yeah, you know, you're doing a lot of like heavy lifting and the fighting stuff, but like, have you ever considered just like sitting down to reflect on nature and like do some haikus? So there are places in the game where you can just compose haiku, and it's really cool and fun, and it's a great way to break up the experience beyond like helping people and exploring and finding things and honoring shrines and stuff. So it's really neat that quest. It's neat that the game actively encourages you and rewards you for not just like going off the beaten path, but like framing it deliberately as like a self-care exercise. I think that is very cool. And we're doing a side quest.
And I kind of like how that sort of diegetically is like, listen, you don't have to, but if it's ever getting a bit much, just take a load off. Here's the places you can do it, which is, you know, that's equal parts for the character and the player. Because the player's like, oh god, I've just been mowing through dudes, I just want to relax. You know what, I'll just park my butt in a hot spring for a bit. And that's the thing, it doesn't force you. It integrates the gameplay and the story and the player experience. And,
Are you having a big yawn because you just took a big nap? Oh, I bet you are.
I had the joy and honor of playing some games with Hello Future Me on Age of
Hey.
Empires 2 the other day, and we were talking about cats for part of it. He was very appreciative of the Cleo cameo on last Friday's video. It says the stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. Are we lagging?
Huh.
No.
No, we're
I don't
actually
care.
fine. They're like, we recommend you use a stream bitrate of 2500, which is, honestly, there is no winning with the stream widget. It'll be like, oh, the bitrate's too high. Oh, it's too low. Oh, gosh, I just don't know what you should do. And I can't offer you a solution. I'm just a widget. And it's like, well, maybe you should stop yelling at me then.
Alright, speaking with this person.
Mongols have been here.
They've been drinking us dry,
I can't fault their taste. Kiyosake is the pride of Tsushima.
especially compared
Slater
to that
in the
Osprey's
comments asked if we had any thoughts on J.K. Rowling and separating art from the artist. Do we want to get into that, or are we leaving that be? Or do we just refer them
Well, I
to
don't
Lindsay
wanna
Ellis and
fully-
call it?
I think that's a good, that's definitely a good approach, but I don't want to like go full into this, but I will say it's okay if Harry Potter was a big part of your life. Harry Potter is literally the reason I learned how to read when I did, but it is also a good idea to analyze a work in the context of the author. I mean, you know our thoughts on this. That's literally all I do. You know, you take the story and you put it in context so you understand the story better. And if you look at the opinions J.K. Rowling is putting forward, and then you look at her books from that perspective, a lot of things kind of jump out. Like, how isn't it interesting how the Gryffindor girls' dorm will physically throw out anyone it perceives as male? Or isn't it interesting how that entire house elf subplot played out? And isn't it interesting? You know, it's just, you know, I'm not going to tell you, like, you are not allowed to acknowledge that you ever enjoyed this, or that you liked it, or that you even like parts of it. It's just, you know, as an audience, it's kind of your duty to critically engage with the stuff that you take in. And a big part of that involves interrogating the context in which an art was created. And in this case, that context is becoming extremely clear because she will not stop tweeting about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So-
trans rights. Sorry, didn't want to leave that one out.
Yeah. In case there's any ambiguity. Yeah. My thoughts are pretty much the same. Hi, Cleo. You bumping up to me? What are you doing there? I'm trying to kill some Mongols. Are you having fun? Okay, Cleo's getting comfortable.
Ah. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot, and every time I think it's over, she tweets again, and it's just like, again, just do watch the Lindsay Ellis video. I think it's
Yeah.
called Death of the Author 2, Rowling Boogaloo.
Yep.
Yeah, highly recommend. She puts it into words way better than me, and it's actually really funny because she normally does like highly scripted content, and she's like, I'm very not used to just plopping myself in the camera and saying what I thought, and then it's like the most eloquent video essay I've ever seen.
I don't
So,
think Lindsay Ellis
really
can
good.
not be highly eloquent and, like, nigh academic quality in everything she says.
Oh, just straight up. But she made this point that I think is interesting, which is just that clearly Rowling is sure she is the good guy here. Like, she genuinely seems to believe that she is advocating for, like, these poor, endangered, these, like, delusional or hapless or endangered people. And there's, I mean, I've talked about this before, but there is nothing more dangerous than a paragon with a faulty motivation, because they are just as dedicated to their cause as any paragon, but the cause itself is rotten. And anyway, I just wish she'd stop tweeting and maybe get like an intervention from someone who's close to her who can be like, no, really, this is actually terrible, and here's why it's incredibly bad and dangerous that you're using your power for this.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that on that, basically.
I like that I can deflect the arrows. Also, you'll notice that Jin's armor is filthy, because I've been rolling around in the dirt during this fight a lot. One of the cool mechanics is that when it rains, and then you go into grass, the grass will act like a ancient Japanese car wash, and basically buff your armor to being clean.
Amazing.
Alright,
So,
kill one of those.
I missed the part where you were deflecting arrows. Can I ask, were you deflecting arrows by slicing through them with your sword in mid-flight?
Kinda. I think that's basically what happened.
I'm just...
You could drink as much sake as you like.
Yes! That is
Yeah.
my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Not to loop back, but that's like in Usagi Yojimbo, that's like his signature move, and every time it made me think it was a lot easier than it actually is, because he does it constantly, and I was like, wow, arrows are just like fun little flying targets, and then in real life, I shot a bow for the first time, and I was like, oh wow, that's actually way harder.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, one of the things that I really like about this game is that after the quest ends, it shows Jin just kinda relaxing for a second. It's just, there's so many things about this game that I enjoy, in how it presents, like, the idea of struggling to do something important. It's not just like, oh, you go do it, and then you go do it. Like, you never see Link take a nap, but you see this character, like, have to work and balance what he's doing and take care of himself so that he can take care of other people, because we often have this idea of like, oh yes, we have to set ourselves on fire to keep everybody else warm. But it's definitely not like that. Let me upgrade some of my stances. Do I want to increase the stack damage? Stack damage? Yeah, okay.
Oh, I will say, while you don't see Link take a nap, in Breath of the Wild, you do see him, like, shelter from the rain and take a break to cook himself some food, and sometimes the weather is just not good, and you find a place to hide and you stay there, and it's another game that kind of, it gave you a reason in-game to take a break.
Yes.
And that is a very valuable thing, because it's very easy to get caught up in kind of the non-stop grind, and like, I've played some earlier Zelda games, and they are just completely non-stop. Like, Twilight Princess is just one thing after another. It's like, sorry, there's no time to take a break. You gotta run. Now you're stuck as a wolf. Oh no, Zelda's in danger. Myth is dying. And I was just like, I want to sleep and do my homework. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So yeah, games with built-in breakpoints are very. It's not just games too. Like, there are some books that I can't read because they are so tiring, and there's nowhere to pause. That was like the main thing that kind of turned me away from reading the Dresden Files books. I've talked about this before, because they were really fun and urban fantasy and absolutely my jam, but it's just like every book starts with Harry Dresden has not slept in 72 hours, and by the end of the book, he still hasn't slept, but also he's like hopped up on magic potion and is turned into a werewolf and probably been kidnapped at least twice, and it's just like, oh my god, let him rest, let me rest.
Yeah. On the subject of creatives sometimes being very bad people, is that a bad guy?
Oh, boy.
I saw an article about Ubisoft in the news this morning, who's been notable for the fact that several allegations came out against many of their high-level employees for being garbage human beings who treat the company like a frat house. Oh, these guys are way more dangerous than the ones that I fought before. Okay, we are going to die here, most likely. But there was a whole thing about how the newest game, Odyssey, was supposed to feature only Cassandra as the playable lead, but the director was like, no, women don't sell, make it a man. So they ended up having the option, which is, oh god, which is obviously better than nothing, but in an early version of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Evie and Jacob were supposed to have equal screen time, but Jacob ended up having significantly more, because the same guy who was running it was like, more Jacob. Jacob's character is boring. Evie's character is actually interesting. So that ended up being unfortunate for various reasons. But halfway through Assassin's Creed Origins, Bayek was supposed to either die or somehow be written out of the story, and you were supposed to spend the rest of the game playing as his wife Aya, who is, again, a much more interesting character, but that didn't happen, and you only end up playing as Aya in the very last act of the game. So it's like, oh yeah, no, I see this pattern of, like, the possibility of female characters getting consistently sidelined up until, now, where it's great that Eivor is Eivor, whether, he is a guy or she is a woman, and there's no judgment and the player can just make them who they want. That's cool, but, like, also, like, make a character that's, like, actually, like, just a female character and let them exist. Aloy is fantastic, Ellie is fantastic, there are all these great female characters, specifically in the PlayStation umbrella, weirdly enough, that are really, really cool, and clearly sell fantastically. So it's good that Ubisoft is cleaning house and getting rid of some of the shitty people that have been running that show for entirely too long. Obviously, it doesn't excuse the fact that it happens, but sometimes you see companies just dig in their heels and be like, no, we're not going to change, not at all, no, deal with it. But hopefully, some good actually comes of this. So we will see.
There's something I always find sort of morbidly humorous when I've, perhaps unsurprisingly, I am quite aware of the background radiation in this specific space where it's like you create a female protagonist and then like a million people erupt out of the woodwork like, that's not fair, you gotta make another dude protagonist to counterbalance it. And it's like, oh, that's not fair, that tips the scales, I'm so sorry. And it's not like that's inobvious. And then when it becomes clear, like, oh yeah, that's because of one shitty sexist asshole who's like, no, it's not fair, they can't have anything if I can't have something too. And you're like, wow, if only someone could have warned you or predicted this or pointed out for years that this is blatantly shitty and not cool.
If only someone made 70 like, games where someone like you is the protagonist.
Yeah, oh, I'm so sorry. It's just like, it's the toddler who can't stand that anyone else has a toy because all they can think about is that they don't have that toy. But it's a grown-ass man in charge of a major corporation, and it's like, oh, this is so shocking, except no, it's not, because people like this never grow up, and we've been saying it for years. So, it's funny because if I didn't find it funny, I would find it too infuriating to be able to function on a daily basis, Yeah.
So that was an article that I saw. Oh, damn it. Faked me out.
Okay, to the person in the chat saying, I don't know, it seems unlikely that the CEO would say something like, women don't sell. You have never spoken to a male boss in your life.
Yeah,
no
granted,
offense, but Jesus.
That wasn't Yves Guillemot. It wasn't him that said that. It was one of the creative directors who's overseeing the AC brand. I forget their name, but you can look it up. You'll find out who. It wasn't Yves. Yves was actually kind of being like, what? In my company? No. Which, obviously, it's your company, dude. There's only so much that that you can claim innocence on when it's your company and you're the one with power to get rid of it. Granted, sometimes people are deliberately shielded, sometimes those things never go up the chain, so people in charge genuinely never find out about it. There are many different ways in which a system like that can be allowed to propagate, but whether or not, Yves is responsible, he wasn't the one that said it, doesn't make him a saint.
Yep. But yeah, just, I have seen that general attitude, like, no, that's too ridiculous, that's like cartoonishly, like, malevolent and evil. No one would actually do that. No, I promise. People do that because they think it's just... The fact that you think it's ridiculous is, like, a credit to you. Because there are people for whom it is their bread and butter and the world that they've lived in since they were born. And for those people, it's not a controversial statement. They're just stating the natural order of things and everyone else is being weird about it. It is genuinely mind-boggling the level to which people will just, like, carve out a little space for themselves in how they think reality works and defend it to their dying breath without even realizing that they are working so hard to keep up a delusion and not engage with reality. So yes, the fact that you think that's absurd, no one would ever say women don't sell,
good on you.
Look into any, like, yes, good on you, that's a good sign, but just look into any historical advertising campaign, look into, like, the gendering of toys was, like, a movement in, I think, like, the 90s, and that was a whole thing because toys were like, selling.
Come here, you little scamp.
Yeah. I mean, hell, just think about how like it's a semi-recent development that toys like Lego have been putting out like.
It's excited. Ah, that's so cute. You'll see it in like 2
adorable.
seconds.
I'm
beautiful.
so excited. But yeah, like toys like Lego had For Her versions, and they were like, why aren't these selling well? We're giving them smoothie stands and like horses and stuff. I guess girls just don't like toys. And then they were like, maybe we should ask some girls. And the girls were like, can you just give me like a little, like a ponytail attachment? I want to play as this astronaut, but I want to give her a hairstyle that I like. And the Lego people were like, oh my god, all those billions spent on the smoothie stand installment
like,
when we could have just been
get it.
selling
We
them
made all-
ponytail hats?
We made all these parts pink. Why aren't they selling?
I just don't
yeah.
understand. So yeah,
Yeah.
basically the thing is, if an advertiser wants to sell to women, just sell to fucking people, all right? Women
Yeah.
are people and they want to buy stuff. But the thing is, they're always like, no, it can't possibly be that simple. There's got to be another way, and
Yeah.
then it doesn't work. And they're like, oh, we'll never understand these seductresses. And then it's
Yeah.
just like,
Part of it is
again,
a
sorry if I'm a little heated.
No, part of it's a vicious cycle because the idea of like, oh, well, we don't want to cater gets wrapped up in, oh, well, if we end up making something for women, it will be dumbed down because in my mind, the only way that anything could be for women is if it is dumbed down in this shitty way to these standards that we've arbitrarily set. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy of like, oh, you know, well, we can make a game for women, but if we make it a woman protagonist, the plot of the game's gonna have to be about like going
Shoes.
shopping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
'Cause
like no,
it's-
you can make the main character a woman and have them be a character. That's an option that you have.
It's starting from the faulty premise. That's
Yeah.
why all this logic falls apart and frustrates them so much. Like, it really does confuse the hell out of them, and you can tell it makes them unhappy. But it's because they're starting from the flawed premise that, like, in order to understand the female of the species, you must first imagine a man, and then make him weaker and dumber and
Yeah.
interested in stupid things. And
Yeah.
then cater to that. And instead, it's like, why isn't this working? I just don't understand them. And, like,
Yeah.
I mean, the joke is old at this point. The joke of, like, dudes being like, women, such mysterious creatures. What do they want? What do they think? We'll never know. And the woman's like, well, I think, no, shut up. I'm speaking for you. You know, it's tale as old as time. It's great. It's great being a creature
yeah.
of mystery because nobody listens to you.
Yeah.
Stop asking me Civ 5 or Civ 6. Obviously, that is not a question that is... I've never played the Civ games.
I see this debate
Stop spamming chat.
happen in different places. It's like the games are slightly different and are good depending on what you value in a game experience. Stop spamming. Although, honestly, we
Yeah.
should stop answering the spamming questions and telling them to stop spamming because then that encourages people to spam. So,
That's true.
if you spam, we won't answer you.
Yep.
We won't even acknowledge the question that you asked. We will just tell you to stop spamming.
That's the hook. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting. Honestly, advertising as like a field often seems like it's like 3 generations out of touch with reality on some level.
Yeah.
Like, because when your whole point is how do I sell product, if you lose sight of product and audience for product and just focus on sell, then you know, that disconnect from reality will pull you farther and farther away from the actual reality, which is why you get these, you know, people have been roasting pointlessly gendered products since the first time somebody slapped pink on a gel pen and said, for her delicate fingers. But that doesn't stop
Ugh.
advertisers from doing it non-stop.
Can I shoot this guy through this? A lot of bad dudes over there. I don't know if you saw it, but I almost got seen, and then I, like, ducked and rolled into a tent, and it was the coolest thing I've ever done in this game.
Oh, dude, awesome. Well, it's recorded for posterity. Oh, man. Just gotta let the righteous fury drain away real quick.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something a little less inflammatory than modern ingrained sexism in our society, and how every day good-hearted people are shocked and horrified that yes, this has actually been a problem this whole time, and we've been trying to tell you, but you didn't believe it because it seemed so out of the possible range of reality. Because who the fuck would really think that? And it's like, yeah, who would? But some people do. actually letting the righteous fury drink.
Now.
Okay, nice light.
Someone knows where. Ah. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, okay.
We're in the camp. Let's try to. Oh. Ow. Where? Oh. Over there. Hey, friend. Cool. Good talk.
So I feel like the Kurosawa mode, while I'm glad it's included, and I feel like I kind of had to, would kind of take away some of the absolutely gorgeous lighting and how it makes it very clear what kind of environment you're in.
Yeah, I think the Kurosawa mode is a great thing to have. It's not for me because I like the game being in all these pretty colors so much. Like, every once in a while I turn it on, but I don't feel like doing it for the stream, partially because I'm trying to play and not make a mistake, and having color helps me. But also because I feel like not everyone will want that on all the time, and even still, I feel like it's hard to nope, not out that way, god damn it. It's hard to play with it for more than a little bit at a time, without getting slightly lost.
Yeah.
Because when you're just, watching a movie, that's one thing, but when you're trying to interact and make decisions, every little bit of information is important.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good to have, like you said, but for this specific purpose, I think it's prettier this way. Like more colors, better lighting. Like just looking around, it's like, oh, it's dark and there's small like orange lights. You're in a camp,
Yeah.
Whereas when it temporarily goes into kind of black and white for the focus mode, and you can actually see like, yeah, that's really good for zeroing in on you, but the whole point is it kind of blurs out the rest of the environment, makes it seem kind of monochrome. So for these, like, clearing out the camps thing, is the goal just to, like, kill everybody, basically?
Kill them all. Yep.
Heck yeah.
I do like that sometimes you have the opportunity to just stab someone when they're on the ground. It's fun. And then if I want to clean my blade, I just swipe right on the D-pad. And the blade is cleaner. Sorry, the touchpad. This game does a lot of small things right in ways that I really appreciate. It's basically one of the only games to make the touchpad useful for more than just a glorified big push to get your mini-map button. Or push to bring up the map.
What does it do?
So the touchpad has a lot of different functions. One of them is swipe up to get a gust of wind to tell you which direction to go. Swipe right to either take out or put away your sword. You can swipe down if you want to bow to anyone, alive or dead. And then on the right, or on the left, you can play your flute, but you can't do that when you are in a combat encounter, which is smart. And then if you push it in, you'll get this, like, sneaky hearing mode thing that I've been using on and off during this encounter.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really, really smart design. Whoop. Haha! Die.
So, just, like, overall, what's the overarching plot of this game? I know it's Mongols invaded, but, like, what's your goal?
Right now, your goal is to rescue your uncle who got captured by Cont in the very beginning. After that, I genuinely don't know. Because this seems like a fairly localized plot point. And certainly the entire game can't be about rescuing your uncle. But
Probably not.
I'm sure there will be other things that come up, but for right now, the most important thing is just assemble your team of people, try to clear out this part of the island, and then you will be on your way to rescuing your uncle. That's all I got.
I'm giving even odds on that uncle surviving the rescue.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I mean, you need something to motivate you in the second half of the game, right?
Surely. Ow. Aha, kill the leader. Killer observed 3 more leaders to unlock wind stance. It's heckin' windy. Come on. Fight me or you just gonna... Sorry, puppy. Unfortunately, you must kill the dogs, which is very sad. Ow!
No! Ooh, okay, sorry. This isn't related at all to the game, but a person in the chat had an interesting question about a thing they did in American Gods, and I actually kind of do want to talk about it. So the question was about Mad Sweeney, one of the characters in the show, who was like a very minor character in the book, but then I think they cast someone like way too tall and way too handsome to be a bit part like he was in the book, so he ended up getting a more expanded role, especially in season 2. And the thing about Mad Sweeney in the book is that he's a leprechaun, and he shows up a couple times and then he basically dies, and that's it. And it's kind of part of the general layer of mild depression that book is kind of steeped in. The show spices things up a little bit, gets a little more dramatic, and it does this interesting thing with what Mad Sweeney's deal is. And the short of it is, obviously, as a leprechaun, he comes from Irish folklore and mythology. But anyone who knows anything about Irish folklore and mythology will know that there was this whole thing about taking gods and rewriting them to be people or like fairies or spirits or dead kings. So in the show, Mad Sweeney is actually kind of mad because he doesn't remember who he is because he's been rewritten so many times.
Gosh.
He's like got all these histories. Yeah, it's really freaky. He's got this one where he's like, he was a king and he was driven from his castle and defeated, and his family came to visit him in the woods because he was kind of living like a wild man and sort of coming in and out of lucidity. And then in one, he was this warrior who battled this one-eyed monster, and in one he was this and the thing is he ends up being Bloo, the god, like the sun god, the really big deal god. But he got rewritten so many times and reduced and changed that he just ended up this mad little leprechaun man, and it was really depressing. But also very interesting. And I thought that was such a cool, kind of existentially horrifying approach to because, you know, when the mythology gets rewritten, you're like, oh yeah, I mean, it got Christianized and Balderized and changed. But when those mythologies are full of, like, living people who are affected by their own stories, then you have a recipe for some really existential messed up stuff, and I kind of really love it. It's so cool.
That's really clever. I was just reading the scroll there, Conversations with the Khan, which is one of a handful of collectibles you can find. It's this one guy who's like, this Coach and Khan fellow is pretty interesting. I'm going to write down his things and write down what to talk about. And it's, you know, him basically strategizing of what he's going to do with your character's uncle and how he's of more use alive than dead. And it's cool stuff. All right, destroy the powder cache. Where's the powder cache? These camps are so big, they're kind of easy to lose track of. There we go.
Person in chat, Bloo is a god of the arts. Does not appear to at all be a storm god. Sorry. But he is affiliated with the sun a lot. And he's mostly known for his skill in combat and with a spear. So nothing about the storm.
Yellow chimes in, Lug is complicated. Yeah.
Oh, he is. I mean, everything in Irish mythology is complicated. Trust me. I read the Book of Invasions recently.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
yes, my samurai legend has grown in prominence. I am now the unyielding wind. Cool. What's up?
Oh yeah, and person in chat. Yes, the one-eyed monster that he remembers fighting was Balor, but he also kind of conflates him with Odin, because he also has one eye and is kind of a major player in American Gods. But there's some possible truth to that. In terms of offshoots from the Proto-Indo-European mythology, Balor and Odin might be drawing from kind of the same source. It's very hard to tell, but that's mostly because we don't have any uncorrupted records of that time.
Yes.
And it's very frustrating. It's fine, it's fine. I'm not mad. Why would I be mad? It happened like 1,500 years ago. That's a long time to hold a grudge. Anyway.
Hold on, I spilled. I'll be right back.
Oh no. Okay, I guess it's just me and you, chat. How y'all doing? Having a good day? Keeping things going? Staying in the air conditioning, wearing your masks when you go outside, all that good stuff. Cool. That's great. Let's see. Anyway, man, I am tired. I normally sleep a little bit later than this, so, well, not later than this, but I normally sleep later than I did today. So I'm running on, like, 85% functionality, firing on, like, most of the cylinders. You know how it is, you know. But, yeah, this is a really pretty game, you guys. This is, like, not fair. I wish I weren't on this delay, because then I could be reacting to things timely when they're happening, but instead I'm just kind of like, oh wow, bear, I'll keep an eye open, and then a bear shows up, and I'm like,
back.
oh shit, that was a pretty cool bear. Hello! Good, I was running out of things to talk about.
If you needed any indication of how hot it was getting before I turned on the fan, I had a piece of chocolate. It melted.
No!
It's okay. New ghost weapon available. Ah, yes. Do we want black powder bombs, which explodes and staggers nearby enemies? We already kind of have a sticky bomb. Smoke bomb, which helps us escape, or a wind chime, which distracts.
So they're just straight up making you into a ninja. Like
that's the whole ghost track. So you have two broad playstyles. One is the let's do the smoke bomb, be stealthy. You have the the samurai stuff, and then there's the ghost, which are playstyles that you can use together. It's not like you have to choose one or the other like some games make you do. You're supposed to be working with both. But every once in a while, when you level up enough, you get a new ghost weapon. So let's see. Do we want some more kunai? I'm gonna save my points here and then spend to get an improved standoff streak. So after we win a standoff, we can kill more people.
Heck yeah.
All right, where do we want to go?
It's interesting that they're
ooh, look at that.
They're giving you the opportunity. I like that they're giving you the opportunity to do all this like movie ninja stuff without having to pretend like ninjas were historical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad they don't call him a ninja, because that would end up getting a little confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, look at this beautifully burned out camp. Oh, quick fire weapon swapping while holding R2. Used yada yada to switch ghost weapons. Yes. The many functions of oops. Oh, so much for those. The many functions of R2. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we are going left. Let's go out of camp, call our horse, and be on our way.
Okay, so, person in chat asking about what books to recommend for Irish mythology. As always, I recommend you go to the primariest source you can find. So, basically, look up the Book of Invasions and read it.
Yep.
There's a copy, a multi-volume copy on archive.org.
I'm right here.
Highly recommend. It's very confusing. The version I found basically just tries to compare every fragmentary version we have, because it's one of those things where we don't have the original, we only have some like copies of it, kind of like the Eddas. So it takes all those versions and it conflates them, and it compares and contrasts and points out like this one expands this whole thing into one sub-story, this one summarizes it in one sentence, moving on, there's like an index. It's very useful, it really kind of gets across how utterly confusing and bonkers it is, but yeah, would recommend.
There was an email from someone asking us about basically that same question, Celtic and Norse. The answer is usually go to the source wherever possible, but also the sources are complicated, so sometimes it's hard to dive into that first thing. There are a lot of good books on the subject written by various people. Oh hey, I have a new resolve meter, so I can save myself from death slightly more often. So if you go to your local library, school library, city public library, whatever, or a bookstore, someone will surely be able to recommend something for you, but if in doubt, go to the source.
Yeah.
Is that how they captured you?
There's a lot of secondary literature on both of those mythologies of trying to analyze them, because they are so confusing and frustrating, and all of our primary sources were written post-Christianization. Which is immensely frustrating for a lot of researchers, because it's like the Prose Edda, the archetypical source we have, written most likely by Snorri Sturluson in the 1200s. That's like 200 years after the area was fully Christianized. That's like 3-4 generations. There's just nothing. There's like no original, and there's a lot of people trying to figure out like, contextualize the author, figure out what biases might have been present, try and reconstruct the original that Snorri was writing about, because it's all we have to work on, and it's very frustrating. See, here's the thing. I was like, oh, Snorri Sturluson, he just wrote a bunch of myths down. That was cool of him. And then Yellow pointed out to me that or directed me to some sources and some like literature on it, and basically Snorri had like a very specific motive for writing the Eddas. He was working with King Hakon IV, I think, of Norway. I think. I'm gonna feel real dumb if I'm getting that wrong. But basically, King Hakon was like, listen, I want to unify with Iceland. And you're like a big deal, right? You're like a bard and stuff. Could you maybe like kind of help with that? And Snorri's like, yeah, probably. And he writes up this Edda, this book, that is basically saying, hey everyone, listen, we're all Christians here, but you know what? We're also Norsemen, and here's our shared history. And then he writes up this book, basically drawing on the now defunct Norse religion in the area, and like, oh man, he covers his ass a lot. He's like, no, they weren't gods, they were Trojan heroes whose superior technology caused them to be worshipped as god. Yeah, he ancient aliens as himself. It's fucking crazy. But then after he gets all that out of the way, he's like, and lo, did Odin do this thing, and Loki, what a jerk, am I right? But also maybe not that much of a jerk, who knows? It's crazy how that is. I kind of write him like a biblical scapegoat, which makes me think maybe he's supposed to be more sympathetic in my version, and oh, he starts Ragnarok, but we're living in a post-Ragnarok world, so maybe that was a good thing, and oh, it's so much, it's a lot, and everyone's like, what does this mean? What did he want? And, creating this shared cultural Norse identity, would have been a pretty good thing in service of trying to get Iceland and Norway to be like one thing, and it would also explain why he was writing it the way he did, framing things in such Christian terms to make it like palatable for his modern audience while drawing on this older source that they'd spent so much time trying to stamp out. It's a lot, and then it's like, this is the only first source we have, and it's very frustrating that it's so politically loaded. It would be like if the first text we had about what was going on in America right now was one of those like shitty political cartoons with labels on everything, and we were like, no, what does this mean about the cultural landscape of the time?
I have boxed myself into the upper room of this house with basically nowhere to leave. I keep trying to shoot people in the head, and they keep not getting shot in the head by me. and it's very frustrating.
Like interesting use
that.
of passive voice there.
I know what I said. Damn it.
Oh yeah. Researching anything like runes is a huge pain in the ass for two reasons. One, there's all this stuff about like magic and neo-paganism, which makes it very complicated to research. Two, a lot of it has been co-opted by white supremacists, so it's like
Yeah.
it's just two different minefields every time you try and research this stuff. It's just complicated.
Alright, well, no use just hiding out here the entire time. Let's see who I can murder. Oh god, there's so many of them. Can I air assassinate this dude? Yes! You bet I can! Hiya! Ah! Water stance is effective against shieldsmen. I recognize that. I am not trying to kill that guy. Ugh, are you tutorializing me in the middle of my fight? There we go. I wanted to kill the leader. Let me kill the leader. Get rid of the big guy first. Oh, Cleo's taking a nap. Isn't that adorable? There we go. See, now I'll kill the shieldsman.
So, does the combat in this game like feel good?
Oh, it feels
looks
great.
a little bit slidey, kind of.
I am a slidey fighter in these games because I like to dodge a lot and I'm bad at parrying. It would look a lot cooler if I was good at parrying. I will say that because I haven't really nailed the window. So actually, let me try and fight in a way that would look more cinematic rather than the way that I actually fight. And we'll see if that ends up looking a little bit more compelling for this genre that we're trying to evoke. Alright, so you die. I'll take it. Not exactly what I wanted, but I won't say no. Let's see. Where did the peoples go? Aha! You, sir. Fortunately, I can't actually parry this guy because the halberds are unparryable.
Ah, brutal.
There's a good emphasis on, you know, if you do it right, you won't be sliding around everywhere, but you'll be just like, you know, dodging slightly to the side, dodging slightly to the side, rather than me who just rolls out of every single scenario because I'm a scaredy cat when I fight in this game.
I do think for the samurai combat aesthetic, less is more.
My god, I just got down the door to this house and stabbed this dude in the face. It's a power move.
Woo. Heck yeah. But yeah, I think for samurai stuff, sometimes less is more. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the less you move, the more in control you seem to be, and that, like, that vibe of like who's controlling the situation. That's a big part of what makes that specific samurai archetype so cool.
Yeah, so that's what happens when I get a good parry. It looks like that. Yeah, so it is incredibly satisfying when you get it right, but usually I die, so I don't do it as much. It does look real cool, I will say that.
Beautiful. Yeah, having recently gotten back into Smash Bros, I can't understate how effective a really good feeling sword impact can be in video games. Because that's the whole point, man. What's the point of playing a video game if it doesn't feel good, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
That's the thing that
I
makes
know,
me
man,
a
when it
little
feels
bit
bad.
wary about this new AC game, is because from all the combat that they've shown, and Yellow and I, we did a stream with Sarcastic GM from the Discord on his Twitch channel, Ludo History, check it out, where we were talking about the historical accuracy, or lack thereof, in the newest Assassin's Creed, and what kind of problems that creates. One of the things that we didn't talk about was the fact that the combat doesn't look very good, because there's no hit stop on any of the attacks. So usually in game design, hit stop is a thing where you program in like the 2 or 3 frames of let's see what's down at Jito's point. You usually program in a couple frames of the character models completely stopping to show this pose of an impact being made, or in the case of God of War, the characters still move, but Kratos' axe has hit stop, so when it lodges into someone, it stays completely frozen for like 2 or 3 extra frames to show like this axe is embedded in there because look, it's not moving, it's so hard in there. And it's very like specific abstract kind of stuff that like on paper is a little weird and esoteric, but ends up having a really big effect on the way that the game plays. Currently, the build of Valhalla does not have hit stop. Darby McDevitt, lead writer, has said there will be hit stop. We hear you loud and clear. We're working on it. But also, oftentimes it's like, yes, we see that the combat in this Assassin's Creed game looks floaty and boring. Don't worry, we'll fix it so it doesn't look floaty and boring, and then it always kind of looks a little floaty and boring. The prime example is Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which had like the most Arkham combat to ever Arkham, but it didn't have any weight to it, and the characters weren't agile enough to get that sensation of like Batman's just flying around between people, so it wasn't light enough or heavy enough to feel like good Arkham combat, which is a really weird needle to thread. But it ended up not working. So hopefully the combat in Valhalla ends up feeling okay. The other problem is that there's this emphasis on dual-wielding combat because they think that all Vikings dual-wielded. No. This myth exists and has been kind of perpetuated for reasons that Yellow and I could not figure out why, but there is no surviving anything on Viking battle tactics beyond they showed up and burnt our stuff and left. So we have no actual like insight into the way they fought, and fighting with 2 weapons is a pain in the ass and is really hard and doesn't work. The only actual attested manuscripts that describe 2-weapon fighting is Italian and French, but mainly Italian fencing manuscripts and instruction books that have, okay, so in your dominant hand you hold the rapier, you hold your big weapon, and then in your offhand you hold a little dagger to deflect your enemy's weapon if it ever gets too close, because you can't like full-on General Grievous it by just going out and lightsabers blazing. But you can, use one long and one short weapon. That's an established thing. But it is just annoying of like, why did you think that you had to do this? It's not real. It's like, sure, it's kind of cool if you look at it for 2 seconds and don't think very hard about it. But no, please don't do that. So if I play that game, I'll probably be using a one-handed weapon to avoid the nonsense of going 2 shields into a fight, which, like, sure, it's kind of interesting to think about. It's, a little humorous, but don't fight with 2 shields. That's not how a shield works. Unless you're sharpening it and putting, like, a razor blade on the edge, you're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah. I love finding controversies that I didn't know existed. Everything about that conversation is just pure gold. Like, hit stopping? Dual-wielding Vikings is like a thing now? Okay. Just, beautiful.
It's like when you stumble onto like a really heated Twitter thread that you have no context for, but you're just there for the popcorn.
Yep. No context, no stake in it. You're just here to watch the sparks fly.
Yep.
It's just beautiful. I went from not knowing what hit stopping was to knowing that apparently it's enough of a thing that fans raised a stink about it and they're putting it in the game.
Come and fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a thing that should be in a game. I mean, this game has hit stop in it. But I love the idea of like, I don't really know what hit stop is. Just suddenly like, oh my god, I can't believe these casuals didn't put hit stop in their combat system.
Yeah. Oh, what are you thinking? How are we supposed to feel the weight of the impact?
love when you can get an attack on someone right before they get their swing in. It's extremely satisfying.
Oh. I don't know. Something about the movement is kind of throwing me, I guess. It might be because everything else is so beautifully recreating the whole samurai thing. And then you get sword slashed and fly 10 feet back, and I'm like, oh, okay. Alright.
I'm trying to do a parry, but I keep on not getting it.
You know, that might be it. It's because it's a video game, and they can't really do the whole one-shot kill thing.
Yeah.
Like it normally works. It kind of feels like you flail the sword at somebody and take a chip off their health bar, which, like, that's the only thing where I'm like, that's really not. That's not how it should feel. You know?
Yeah, and obviously
swords are weighty things.
Yeah. One of the things is that, you know, in all those samurai movies, nobody's wearing armor, except for very rare circumstances, but in this, the Mongols are mostly pretty heavily armored, so granted, you know, swords are sharp, sure, but, like, armor is designed for swords to not go through them. Detailed analysis here at OSP. But it ends up being weird when, it's like it's not a one-hit kill. Because in real, in real fights, when a sword goes through you, that's it. You know, sword fights in movies don't last that long. Oh, we're composing a haiku. This is great. We are reflecting on the invasion. I'll read out the options. So the way this works is Red, you'll see it in a second, but we look around and take inspiration from the world, and then we make our haiku. So our options are calm before the storm, towering above, and overwhelming force. I kind of feel like overwhelming force is a good way to open this haiku.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, overwhelming force. And then as we look, we have a constant haze envelops. Doesn't scan very well. Overtaking all it sees. I like that one. And then heading to uncertainty. I kind of like overtaking all it sees.
Wait, heading to uncertainty doesn't scan. Wait.
No, it's 7.
Oh, wait, yes, it does.
Heading
Sorry.
to uncertainty.
Heading to uncertainty. Yeah, I don't know why that felt so
Right.
weird.
I like overtaking all it sees.
Yeah, agreed.
The 7 is really where you get the punch in these haikus. And the last one is
It's
rushing to the end, fleeing warmth and light, or reaching from within. None of those make sense.
Huh. Actually, if you use reaching from within, then it changes the meaning of the poem from being about the Mongols to being about you and your own inner darkness.
Ah, yeah, let's do it. Reaching from within. Cool.
Heck yeah.
Overwhelming force. Overtaking all it sees.
Someone asks, what's your opinion on short dagger and long dagger dual wielding? Make one of them a sword. Using 2 daggers is dumb. It's like, sure, you use a short sword if you want to, keep it, low profile, but there's no reason to give yourself 2 short weapons. Make one of them a sword. Unless you're really pressed for space. Alright, let's see our special gear. One of the fun things is that we get headbands from our haikus, which is very fun. So this one actually, red and gold, I like it. Let's wear our headband of the invasion. Overwhelming force, overtaking all it sees, reaching from within. Very moody. We can upgrade our armor and whatnot, but I figure I'll do all that stuff off camera because it's less interesting.
Okay.
Alright. Cool. Where to go next?
Beautiful.
We can go...
Haiku minigame?
What?
Haiku minigame. I'm sorry, it just hit me all at once.
I mean, it is a haiku minigame.
It sure is.
Alright, yeah, let's go over here, and let's go over to this blue thing to try and learn the Heavenly Strike. That'll be neat. So let's get on our horse and ride along this river. First we have to climb up, though. This game is so much fun to play around in. Some people in the reviews have said this game doesn't really bring a lot to the table, and it's fundamentally the same game that we've been playing since, like, The Witcher 3. which I feel like is a fine criticism on paper, but misses the point that this game is so highly polished. And is this? No, it's empty. This game is so highly polished and is such a refinement and elevation of that type of gameplay from what we've seen into something very different, where the fundamental way that you interact with the world is so much better than in any other game, because the world is guiding you through the world rather than waypoints and compass markers being the thing that guides you. It's so much more of an investment in the open world than other games before have done. So I feel like the criticism of, like, there's nothing fundamentally new with this game misses the point, because it's done so much better that it becomes a different experience, and it's not just clearing icons off of a menu, but it really is... hold on, I need to... Ooh, ow. Wrong button.
I think that's actually that's the thing about open world maps that are covered in icons, because what that tells you is that the icons are the important thing. Like, the map is decorative.
Yeah.
You go from icon to icon. The map doesn't even need to be there.
Yeah.
It's just there to look. I mean, you know, Skyrim has that bad because it doesn't even look all that good. But if you give us a really pretty map and then you sprinkle it full of icons, that just tells us, go to these locations, that's where everything is. Just by taking that away and adding a more, like, integrated mode of navigation, then we don't need to worry about, like, you ignore the journey because you're focusing on the destination. Just that one thing changes the way you engage with the game, and I think that that can't be overstated.
I see that we've dropped
A little bit
frames.
of yeah, a little bit. It seems like these duels are what really taxes it.
Oops.
'Cause last time we started lagging, it was doing that too.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all these dang picturesque flower fields.
Maybe. Although I feel like what's going on
yeah,
in
it's
the
back. It was the duel.
PlayStation shouldn't affect what's happening in the thing. Oh well. Okay. And there's our gross and messy armor. But let's get back on our horse and continue to our destination. Sorry for the lagginess, everybody. Hopefully it
It's all gone.
The variable
It's fully
bitrate
smooth now.
gets better soon. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. It seems to just be the duel. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I will take a different approach this time.
Huh.
Okay, I can't assassinate that man on horseback. That's unfortunate.
No. You know what I kind of like about this big grassy field? In some video games, this would basically be like, now make sure to hide in the tall grass. But it's like white, and you are very dark color overall. Instead, you just super contrast against it.
Yeah.
And it produces a very, like, movie-like effect, rather than, now remember, you can sneak because the grass is the same color as Aloy's bright red hair.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like that it's specifically always this type of flower that grows out of hideable grass, which is a good visual cue to, like, what grass is tall and what grass is grass.
They take everyone who passes by. Controlling
Yeah,
the roads to
it's a good way to do it.
others. Is there anything that can stop them? I'll try.
Boy.
Alright. Oh god, I got so many emails now. What is happening?
We'll deal with it. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Alright. We are getting there. Oh, we're unflogging that part of the map. Nice.
Oh, beautiful.
Let's go, horsey boy. And this game is just so damn pretty. Oh, there's a fight over there. I wonder
It's
if they're
really nice looking.
having a bad time with a bear.
So are there like wild animals that aren't bears, or do you just have really bad luck with bears specifically?
I think this part of the map is just bears, but there are presumably other wild animals in other places. Ow, okay. See if I can parry this guy. Yeah! Oh, it's so satisfying when you get it right. Oh, it's a bandit and a Mongol fighting. Don't worry. You'll both lose.
Fear not. I've come to make things worse for both of you.
Yeah, one thing that is very cool is that as far as language goes in this game, all of the Japanese characters will speak in English, but all of the Mongol characters, except for smart boys like Khotun, who are implied to know Japanese, all speak in Mongolian. So it reads as foreign and different. So it's a really cool way to, here's the word, diegetically make the outsider-ness of the Mongol characters evident to the player through language, even for someone who, like me, understands neither Japanese nor Mongolian.
Yeah. We could switch it to Japanese just for the full weeb experience.
Yeah. I think I told you, after playing the opening part of this game where it's like all of the samurai like getting ready to fight against the Mongols, I'm like, shit, no wonder there's so many weebs. This stuff is cool.
Yeah. No, man, classic samurai stuff is like peak aesthetic.
It is so satisfying when you get a counter just right, so you can just jump out of the way and then style on a person.
Yes.
Satisfying.
I
When
like
this
how
game
this
works,
game-
it's so satisfying.
It really rewards you for getting things right, and
Yeah.
there's a very noticeable difference between like you're flailing your sword at someone and it's not doing what you want it to, and like you hit them just right and they stagger back, so you can hit them again from a different angle, and then they fall over and it's like, yeah. So it doesn't like punish you for flailing, it just doesn't do what you want it to do. So it's positive reinforcement only. It rewards you for doing the right thing without smushing you into the ground for getting it wrong.
Yeah, it's a good, intrinsic motivation where, sure, mechanically it doesn't really make a difference whether you look cool or not, but the game feels so much better, and playing in a way that makes you look cool is its own, reward. Or some games would be like, oh, if you do such and such without taking damage, we'll, like, give you bonuses or something, or we'll give you, like, extra points and stuff. And sure, like, this game kind of does that too sometimes, but the motivation to play cool, to, like, be cool, is not to be underestimated.
Yep.
Get fucked. Aw. You're way too far away. Aha! Take that. There we go. Oh, it's so good when you get it right.
Yeah. Really rewards you for building up the muscle memory.
Oh, out of arrows. Heck. Looks like we're gonna miss the old-fashioned way. By old-fashioned way, I mean the Weeby Ninja way, because I'm using kunai. Oh, you know.
Amazing.
Oh. There we go. Had the wrong item equipped.
Well, that would do it.
Embarrassing. But yeah, the game makes
I
you
think there's
want to be
always
good, which is good.
Yeah. There's always a small amount of, like, diegetic or gameplay and story. No, ludonarrative dissonance. That's the word I wanted. Sorry. So many buzzwords. For if the character you're playing is, like, cool, like, by definition, but, you are but mortal, and,
Yeah.
sometimes you goof up and accidentally blow yourself up, and your character has to dust it off like it was his idea. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, sorry, that was on me, buddy.
Actually, speaking of buzzwords, I think the last time I used the word diegetic, I used it wrong. Sorry. Forgive me.
Oh, well, I mean, I didn't notice if you did, so.
go across the river. Although, speaking of the word diegetic, I maintain that the best Disney song is All Is Found, because it exists in the world of Frozen. It's not just a song that people sing, it's like, it is a song that exists to the characters as a song, rather than like, yeah, that one time that Elsa went outside and started yelling about, you know, into the unknown. Like, it's, uh-oh, I'm gonna get yeeted. Oh, okay. It is a song that exists, and I think that is very cool. That, like, the world has music beyond just what, like, people are singing. That there are also songs. That, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah,
Although
okay.
I think the diegesis of all the songs in Frozen 2 is a little bit confusing, because every song Elsa sings is because she's hearing, like, a magical siren call.
Yeah, true.
So we can assume that her singing back to it, which she does, and causes it to respond, must therefore be happening in universe.
Yeah.
It's so that's confusing. I think the only number that we can guarantee is non-diegetic is Lost in the Woods, which is also the objective best number.
It's definitely not anything that happens in the realm of reality.
True
because
that, yeah.
Poor Kristoff is clearly losing his mind.
The reindeer backup singers kind of take it out of the realm of reality. But
like, I don't know if your boy, like, or I guess our boy, because we are viewers and he is a character, like, found some shrooms in them there woods, but he's not in his right mind.
well, I mean, you know, sometimes your girlfriend leaves on a magical adventure because her sister left on an even more dangerous magical adventure, and you just gotta sing your feelings out.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Very view.
I think it was just payback for the fact that they cast, you know, noted Broadway singer Jonathan Groff in the first movie, and the only song they gave him was "Reindeers Are Better Than People."
Oh, yeah.
So, for the second one, they were like, all right, how about a 70s hair metal ballad in the style of Queen? And he was like, only if I get to do all the parts. Anyway.
Oh, petting the fox, it's so good. And the fox smiles, and it bounces because it's so excited. Ah! Oh, this game is great. Let's see, what's going on here? Got a fox shrine, got a thing. Ah, yes, we're going over to get the Heavenly Strike. All right, coming up on 2 hours here. Not bad.
Yep.
Not bad at all.
Definitely not.
We'll probably
Shall we,
wrap
ride
it after
to
we
a
finish
logical
this little
stopping
side
point?
quest, because
sounds good.
I might need a break at some point. Although, if we feel like we're doing good, then maybe we keep going. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, we're also going to stream this on Thursday, so we're not in any rush.
Yeah, we've got plenty of game to go.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, I think this is like the chill one, because not much plot is really happening, and we're both
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, game stuff. But I think once like the twists start flying, it'll be like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. Oh, it's this way. What? Oh man, I got all turned around.
Here.
Let's see. I think Cyan is just about finished with her workday, so she'll be back at some point.
Ah, beautiful.
Aha! Oh! That didn't go very well.
Is there a day-night cycle in this game?
Yes.
I just realized I haven't noticed the sun. Ah, cool.
No, there is.
Oh wait, it was dark earlier. I remember at the camp.
Alright, let's try that again. Right, we have, no, and suffering. Then you clean your blade.
Look.
And bow. No. Bow. There we go. Be polite. And then let's get that upgrade to where'd it go? Stances goes. Going tactics. Yes, improved standoff streak. Yes, so we can kill 3 people in a standoff. Awesome.
Beautiful. So looking at the combat, it seems like the game kind of punishes you for swinging too much.
Yes.
Which is good. That's to fit the aesthetic.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be like careful, watch, wait, move around, and then strike only when you see you have an opening, which I think works really well.
Komatsu Prefecture. New area. Neat. Oh yeah, it changes the biome in the world. That's cool. Yeah. When Alana Pierce of Funhouse and Inside Gaming and many other things reviewed the game, she said that one of the downsides is that sometimes enemies aren't quite aggressive enough and you're waiting for a counter that doesn't come. But she said that otherwise she really likes the combat, and I can see why. Because, ow, fuck. I died. I didn't die, but like, I just really gonna. It's easy to kind of flail and not do it right, but to do it right makes it really good. Oh, okay, that was 3 attacks. Alright, I'm learning.
Sorry, just checking the chat. Apparently your DualShock battery is low.
Oh, did it flash that? I didn't see that. Well, I've got another one.
I guess?
Ready just in case.
Oh, that's good.
Come on, hit me. That's an okay parry. Perfect parries are, good. Oh, why are they running away? Face me, cowards.
Maybe you freaked them out.
Doubtful, they were styling on me for most of that fight. Ow! Alright, dick. I need some arrows in here. There we go, that's a perfect parry.
Ooh. The part I just saw is the bit where there's just like a dude, and I don't even know why he's not moving. I'm guessing he's kind of stunned. And you're just like slicing through him, and I don't know. It's so like nice and samurai movie and realistic looking everywhere else, and then the minute you start stabbing a guy, it's like just blood particle effects coming off, and he's like, ooh, and then he falls over.
Owie,
it's
oof,
like, okay.
Yeah. Usually
Yeah,
it's good. It's in those scenarios where you just have to lay into a guy to get their health to go down, because they're so like stacked on they're so stacked on HP that you just need to wear into them. That's where the game gets a little wonky. I always feel like to make a fight more difficult, make the hits harder so you have fewer chances to make a mistake, rather than making it a contest to just like whittle down this person's health bar over the course of 20 minutes, which is what the recent Assassin's Creed did, and something that Sekiro is really good at, another samurai type game, where the whole point of the combat is that the fights won't last very long, but you cannot make a mistake, otherwise you will die.
Yeah.
There we go. Want to fight me, buddy boy? Oh, so satisfying. That's a perfect encounter. Oh, ow.
Oh, beautiful. Well, almost beautiful.
Nope, still no bows.
That's fun. I like how it slows down to really let the moment ring when you like, pull off a perfect strike like that.
I do like that every time you really get a good attack on someone and they die, Jin just takes a second to pose. It's good. Was that a golden bird? Did I see? Oh, a golden bird. Let's follow a golden bird.
Bird? Yeah, let's do it.
Come on. All right, bird. Show me what you got. Oh, look at that. Hold on. That's That's some screen cap nonsense right there.
Ooh.
Eh. Yeah. All right. I do like that this game's photo mode is very accessible. Oh, that's where I was going anyway. All right, Golden Burb. It's just right on the D-pad, and then boom, you're in photo mode. And I like that when you're in photo mode, the game keeps moving. It's just that all of the characters stop. So you still get the beautiful particle effects, and you can just look at this for hours, and it's not just like a static thing. It's constantly in motion, which is something that the old channel Every Frame a Painting talked about with the reason that Kurosawa movies are so cool is that even when there's a 30-second static shot, everything in frame is moving because of the wind, because of, you know, mostly the wind. It's good.
He didn't hear the answers he sought. He flew into a rage.
Whereas, like, movies with more interesting character motion, or more interesting camera motion, sorry, still end up feeling kind of dull because nothing on screen is moving. We're watching a cutscene here. Tsushima was first settled. Strange and terrible thunderstorms swept across our island. Wherever lightning struck, beasts of lightning appeared. Getting Castlevania vibes here. These violent creatures tore through villages, causing death and destruction. Moving too quickly to be stopped.
The people knew only one man who could possibly stand against
the
beasts.
lightning beasts. The guy with a gun.
Turns out swords are old hat.
1820s American huntsman with a rifle showed up and destroyed the beasts of lightning.
An attack that struck quicker than the eye could follow.
I think this is where another part of the combat complexity shows up, is with these mythic strikes, but I don't know how they work. I just know that they exist. I mean, we're learning one now, so we'll see before too long.
Alright, that dude in the flashback is literally just Toshiro Mifune. You can't fool me.
I'm sure that's what they were going for.
That's straight up, that's just him!
The final beast fell. The storm cleared, and Tsushima was safe again. Shigenori began a life of seclusion. Few students found him, and only the bravest and most skilled
Red, don't be silly. It's
proved
not
worthy
Toshiro
of
Mifune.
learning
It's
the heavenly
Mifune
strike.
Toshiro. Completely different person. Completely different person.
Oh,
No
my
copyright.
mistake.
His place at
How silly of me.
Shigenori's
Yeah.
rest.
Not
A
trademarked at
student
all.
who knows of its
Super
location,
cool
to
samurai
ward
OC.
off
Do not
attacks
steal.
from beasts of nature.
Yeah.
The murderer
Alright,
wishes
teach me the
to
move.
end Shigenori's heavenly strike. It sounds dangerous in the wrong hands. Which way did he go?
A woman fled toward a nearby bridge. He chased her.
He'll answer for what he did here.
What will I do when 30 to 50 feral lightning beasts are invading my yard? Oh, Yellow, that's a deep pull from like
Wow.
that 2 days on Twitter 3 years ago.
God, the half-life of memes has gotten so short.
Oh, it's days at this point.
Yeah. Oh, just... My brain is flashing back to that bit in Pacific Rim where the scientist is like, soon we'll be seeing a double event every 5 minutes. It's like, soon the next top meme will cycle out within half an hour.
Yeah. Search for the weeping woman. Return to the search area. I want flowers. I want to dye my armor different colors. Okay. Oh, I gotta go into the bridge. There was one really cool mission that I did early on where there's a bridge that's been attacked, and there are Mongol archers down like in the river below the bridge, and you have to like go scaling down the walls. And it's cool because you're kind of like bouncing between the two sides of the bridge, and there's guys on all these little like rock terraces sticking out. It was a really cool level because the geometry was interesting more than just like, here's a field, here are some Mongols, go have at it. It's like the way in which the world is structured impacts how you actually, you know, fight the thing. It's
That's
cool.
fun.
It is, shall I say, a good game design.
Wow, good game design. Quick, everyone mark that off.
Well, there are no dragons in this stream, so we might be coming up on whoops. Might be coming up on bingo. That one's definitely been marked off already. Examine. Yep, that's dirt, all right. Oh, horse tracks. Never mind.
What more do you know of Yasuhiro?
Everyone needs to stop pointing out memes from January. This year has lasted both 2 days and 3 decades at the same time.
Remember when we almost went to war in January?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. He cannot be allowed to live after what he's done.
Oh god, I don't want to think about that. There's not enough space in my brain for all of these things.
A quick horse tracks, pretty flowers, sun poking through the trees. Very, very beautiful stuff.
Shiny.
Oh, Red, here's speaking of vaguely Japanese things with this game that we got going on. Remember when we went to that convention? And I think we told this story like twice on stream. We went to the convention earlier this year. God.
Oh god, it was this
And
year.
there was that guy who was going up to the booth at the foam swords, and he was like, "Excuse me, could I please see that katana?"
Oh god!
And then he tried to take the sheath off of the katana, but he couldn't because it was a foam katana, and the sheath was the thing.
Oh my god, I'd forgotten about that guy. That was also the convention where like, okay. Because you hadn't really been to that kind of convention before, so you'd never seen the quintessential con experience of the con goer wearing the sweater covered in lewd anime faces.
Oh yeah. There was a pack of them.
The Ahegao sweater. There was a bunch of them. Like every time we turned around, they were more. It's like they were multiplying. Oh, it was. Oh, I'd forgotten about that. That one's gold. See your finest katana.
And I kind of heard like a sigh from the guy who's running the store, like, "Here are my clientele."
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're selling foam swords at a convention, you know the kind of clientele you're going to attract.
Like, this is clearly not new.
No, of course not. Like, you see all kinds at a convention, but some of those kinds are pretty predictable.
Oh, that's so satisfying when you get the perfect parry. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can shoot nests of bees in fights, which is very fun. Where are you?
Oh, you know what? That is one of my favorite game mechanics, because clearly somebody, like 8 months into development, was like, hey, listen, we can patch in a really simple AoE with a very simple trigger. Can we drop beehives on people? And they'll be like, fuck it, it's 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
What else are we gonna do tonight?
Yeah. Check this camp in here.
I don't see Yasuhiro Koga anywhere.
Alright. Let's learn this this ancient technique.
Pursuing a man.
I want to learn how to do the Heavenly Strike.
He just left. He's been staying in the watchtower.
Working with the Mongols?
Yes.
So it's possible that the result of the low bitrate is that the resolution comes through kind of low because people are talking about pixelation. But I mean, as long as it's smooth and like legible, I think we're fine.
Yeah, I'd rather it be a little low res than choppy.
Yeah.
So again, sorry, hopefully internet will improve eventually, whether it just happens to get better or I just get better internet in the next apartment. But sorry. And I wish I knew what specifically it was, because we never really had this problem before, not with Breath of the Wild or anything like that. So
well, Breath of the Wild was through the Switch, so
yeah,
it does seem to be PS4 exclusive.
He's looking for it.
Yeah.
Let's see what's up here. Yeah, come on. Ah. Anything up here for me? No. Alright, back down we go. Alright, anything else we want to talk about? I'm trying to think. I've had a couple topics of conversation loaded up between the Ubisoft thing and historical influences for this game and whatnot, but I'm
I hope
Running
you
a little,
punish the
a little slim on ideas.
Yeah, I'm running a little slow today just because of sleep and stuff.
Yeah, so maybe after this quest we call it.
Yeah, call it a day. Refresh and renew for Thursday.
Yeah.
Just trying to remember if I have any other goofy ass con stories.
Oh, now I have full arrows again. Thank God. Kept pulling out my arrow to shoot people, and it's like, nope. Your bow has no bow. You cannot shoot.
Must recharge bows.
One Blossom Shrine. Neat. Yeah, these you follow the Torii gates, and there's a little parkour puzzle kind of dealio.
Parkour?
Well,
In
sort
my
of. It's,
samurai game?
yeah. Well, like, oh, the path is blocked and the Torii gates are burned. You have to find another way up. So you try to get to the top through various means. So it's a little bit of an environment exploration puzzle, which is another reason that I feel like this game is what Assassin's Creed kind of wishes it was, because it's very much a similar like archetype of game on paper, but the execution is so different and of such a wildly higher quality. That it ends up being a totally different league of game, in my opinion. Even though it's both like historical and open world and all that stuff. This is the feudal Japan Assassin's Creed game I always wanted.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like with something like this, it's often better to just lean into the narrative side rather than the historicity, because I don't know. I mean, obviously historical games are dope, but it's almost like those like unnecessary high budget remakes Disney's been doing. Like anything you change, people are going to complain about, and anything that stays the same, people are going to complain about for different reasons. So like, if you try and make a game that faithfully, if you try and like faithfully recreate a period of history for a game, then people are going to be like, that part's not right, and then they're also going to complain about the parts that are accurate, because it's like, oh, this is boring. There's no tall buildings to swing around. It's 12th century London.
Yeah. 9th. I'll do you one better.
Oh, yeah.
Can I jump to that? I can jump to that. Yeah. No, let me do the thing. One of the things I was thinking about of reasons the new Assassin's Creed isn't Assassin's Creed in the way that I like is because there is no ideological conflict at all. And, like, the whole point was a conflict between Assassins and Templars, and we haven't had that in, like, 4 years. And that is frustrating. It took me a while, like, what is it about these new games that, there are no Assassins. Right, that's the problem.
That's been kind of a running gag. Like, half the protagonists just, like, find their standard issue AC hood and then just go about murdering people, but they're not actually assassins.
Yeah, and it's like, sure, obviously, the Assassins as an organization, as described in, the Middle Ages, not a thing in ancient Greece, obviously. But, like, the philosophical concept at the root of the game of, like, this conflict between order versus chaos was where all of the story nuance and interesting world building came in. And they're just like, mythical creatures, that's what people want. It's like, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's anyway. A thing. Like, an artist doesn't automatically know what of their art is resonating with people. So often when they try and continue it, or like make sequels or reboots or whatever, they focus on the parts that they thought were good and end up losing the parts that actually drew people in.
Yeah.
It's just a hazard of continuing something past maybe its shelf life. Because sometimes you do something really good, and sometimes you just don't hit on the right things and you lose people.
Yeah. Cool. And leaves us here at the shrine to just enjoy the view. Not that there's really anything to see at this time of day, but oh well. Oh,
enjoy
golden
all the
bird.
fire.
Golden bird, show me your secrets. Heck. Cool. I can't go that direction. But I can go around.
No.
Nope, can't go around either. Aha! I can go around.
I think there was an Easter egg in Shadow of the Colossus where, like, you could actually jump up and grab that bird that's always following you, and it'll, like, fly you around somewhat. It would be kind of fun if they could do that in this game. You're just like cliff dive and grab the golden bird and it flies you straight to its shrine or whatever.
That's Zelda.
Cowabunga!
That would fit really well in that kind of game.
God, I am so disappointed with Skyward Sword every time I think about it.
Oh, yeah.
It had flying islands and birds you could fly anywhere, and they were like, sorry, there's nowhere to fly, and you can't have it on the ground where you would actually want to fly places. It's like, you had one job, man.
Alright. Tell me your secrets, Goldie Bird. Ah. Alright, well, Jin's ass round 2. Here we go.
Oh boy.
OSP out of context.
Wait, so the bird was like, take a load. The bird was like, take a load off, take a nice dip.
Bird's like,
That
Jin,
was
you
the only
stink,
thing it
take
was
a
showing.
bath. You're drenched in blood and mud.
Bird's like, I know it's rich coming from me, but a dust bath is not a bath.
Creature Comfort's favorite foods. What do we want to reflect on? Let's see what Jin's favorite food is.
When the Mongols are
Yeah, I'm curious.
Mongols are gone.
Let's get that good character development.
Fresh tuna,
Fresh tuna.
sweet seaweed from Azamo.
It's important to think about good food. Oh man, now I want to go to the Thai restaurant nearby and get some. I'll do that tomorrow for lunch. Cyan and I have a little magnet board next to the fridge where we plan out meals in advance. So we have like a little menu where we like write stuff on and dry erase markers. It's very fun.
Magnificent.
Is that a Mongol can?
Oh
It's a
god.
Mongol can.
I developed a sudden craving for burritos the other night
Oh,
because I was watching an episode of DuckTales where burritos are a thing.
yes.
Anyway, I couldn't end up making them, but I did make cheese quesadillas, but I had to make the tortillas from scratch.
Oh.
So that was a learning experience. But I don't know if I did them wrong or something because they tasted good, but oh man, it felt like I'd eaten a brick.
Oh,
I was like one quesadilla in and I was like, I could stop and not eat for like 4 days and probably be fine. So, yeah, maybe they were a little bit unbalanced, but it was a learning experience, and that's really what matters.
ah yes, the white-leafed tree. That thing that I was looking for when I got distracted and did the Torii Gate Shrine instead. White-leafed tree. In theory, this should be easy. However, I'm dumb and bad at video games. There's a lot of good OSP out of context that you can get from these streams. I was looking at the TV Tropes
we're
page
in
this
rare
morning
form today.
when Indigo sent me a clip about someone finally appreciated the genius of the gag that we've been doing, where every time I swear and bleep it out, I use a quack, and then we somehow integrate the goose from Goose Game into the stream. Most recently, for the Plagues video, when I say yeet the shit out of their plague-infested corpses, which, historical note, I'll mention that in a second, we have the goose go careening across the stream, across the screen as if getting lifted by a catapult, and it is hilarious. But I goofed a little bit on the Plague video because turns out modern research and scholarship on the Plague has evolved a little bit in the past couple of years to the point where the catapulting corpses story is probably not actually true. And usually I'm not always the quickest to jump on new research because the last thing I want to do is read some article about, oh, someone says that this thing is actually this thing, and then end up, parroting somebody's unsubstantiated hot take. But in this case, actually a case where the research has moved on from the original. Has moved on from the original story of Gabriella DeMusi, who was the chronicler for our early Plague documents. Probably not actually Plague corpses getting thrown into the city, because some epidemiologists aren't entirely sure that you can actually spread the plague from a corpse, which to me feels like a corpse rains from the city, smashes into the ground, and spews blood everywhere. That has to be a hazard. But apparently, person-to-person contact is done through the not bubonic plague, but the pneumonic plague, which transmits through, like, you know, air droplets. Mood, relatable. But the bubonic plague is done through the rats and fleas and stuff. So the research is in flux. It's moved on from catapulting corpses to the point where probably was rats coming in through the city the old-fashioned way, and then storing out in grain shipments. So the ships leaving were fine, but it was only after they opened the boxes in port that they're like, oh, we have the plague now, which would explain why the ships were able to go so far, because you'd imagine if the ship was full of plague, they'd get, you know, a little held up. But in any case, white leaf tree. Where is this white leaf tree? Is this it?
Some of the chat says it was by the shrine. I don't know if that's legit, though. Okay. Yeah, but I don't know. I totally buy that it was mostly through rats. It's just, I mean, I don't know if I buy that it wasn't being spread by bodies, because that was like a whole thing, like, you know, oh, we gotta real quickly dispose of these things or it's gonna get way worse, we gotta move them out of the city, and if we don't, things get, I mean, like, it's not like you magically stop being infectious, like, just because you're already dead, you know, like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, the rat factor meant that it was still bouncing around for a really long time because there was a non-human vector. But you could also catch it from people and, like, proximity. And plague
Cyan
doctors.
Has returned.
Oh, hey, Cyan. Anyway, I'm willing to buy that it was mostly the rats spreading it around from, like, place to place through trade. But I don't know. I mean, that whole, like, it can't be caught from a body thing, that doesn't sound right to me. With my super expert opinion of, I read about it in the comic history of the world when I was 6, and it really stuck with me, so you can trust me, I know about stuff.
Where on earth is this? Hold on, let's see if I can look for the white-leafed tree. I don't see a white-leafed tree. Can I cheat and look this way? Okay, white-leaf tree. I don't see a team.
Yeah, okay.
Is that it? That looks like white leaves. Okay, let's try that.
Heck yeah.
Alright, let's climb our way back up to the shrine.
Oh yeah, parkour part 2.
And then after this, we'll call it, because this my inability to quest is indicative of the fact that we're going a little bit towards the end of stream capability. But we'll be back on Thursday. And we still got stuff to finish up here, so we're not done quite yet.
There's plenty of stuff.
Right, which way do I go up? I did this before. Yeah, this is what happens on hour 3.
Chad is becoming frustrated.
With me?
Well, I don't know. They're all giving conflicting directions, but some of them are like, you walked around it a bunch, or no, it's to the left, and I don't know.
Well, let's go up to the top and see if we can't find anything. Try to use my powers of observation. Up we go. It's a lot faster the second time. Is that it?
The real impressive part is that you're doing this parkour in full armor.
Yeah. Alright. Let's see. Aha! That looks like it.
Uh-huh.
But how do we get to there?
Let's see.
Oh, we just jump.
Parkour, presumably?
Wow.
Ah, well.
I wish I was less of a moron.
Hey, we got there, and that's what matters.
Alright.
Yasuhiro must have gathered leaves for me.
Shinigori's Peak. Alright, what do I do? Survey. Aha. Okay. I like these little bits of the game where you just kind of look around and have to assess the situation before you go in. It's cool. Encourages you to be smart.
That is cool. Good game design.
That was the White Tree Grove. Come on. Down we go. Yep. Let's get into this White Tree Grove.
That's not
I wonder where this game hides its load times. Because these are some pretty sophisticated environments.
Yeah, and the draw distance is kind of absurd. So that is a good question. I think it's a case of the game has, by this, where do I stand off? Who am I standing off with? Oh. The game is, so far in the end of the console cycle that they really understand how the PlayStation works and can be extremely efficient with it. Oh, fuck. Oh, I thought, oh god. That was poor. That was a poor showing. I should have known better than that. I thought he was faking me out and going really fast.
Oh. Did you get your ass kicked in this showdown?
Oh yeah, instantly.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun. Works. Try again. Ow. That's an unblockable attack. Whoops. There we go. It's great when it works. And I look like a dummy when it doesn't.
This is a miracle.
We're safe now.
Please.
Please, this is for you. Love that they framed this tree in the foreground here. Was this not where I'm supposed to be, or was this just a random event that happens to be? Shovel the weight. Okay, no, we're still going. Still going. This just is
Okay.
there we go. This is the actual.
Someone's being tortured.
Wait, so the Mongol fight was just like,
It's just-
they just happened to be
Just
hanging
in
out
the
in your
world.
quest line?
Just happened.
Huh, okay.
Boom. Oh, that's great. Ow.
So, real quick, I know we were looking for the tree.
We
What
found it.
exactly are we doing right now?
We are
Well,
going
yeah,
to.
but like,
It's a good question. Broadly, we were looking for
God.
a thing, and then we found it, and it's here, and we need to fight these Mongols now.
okay, alright. That's all I need. All I need is the checklist. This is a very pretty game.
hide, because somehow they didn't hear all of that. Satisfying. Oof. Ow. That looked hurt. Okay, now we free the prisoner.
My bones.
And I think they teach us the thing?
Oh, good.
I've lost the plot here. Streaming is not conducive to following what's actually going on in the game. It just becomes a case of like, go do thing, kill people, okay, and then I turn into blindly following the objective markers as opposed to taking in the full beauty of the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's that multitasking problem.
Yeah, and I don't really hear anything in the game because my volume is down, so I don't have like double audio coming through my mic and the game capture. So usually you can hear the Mongols calling out because they're going to shoot. And I can't, so I just kind of have to guess when the thing's gonna happen. Oh, also I'll show you something fun. One of your abilities is playing the flute, and what you can do is change the weather.
With the flute?
Yep. So it's raining.
Excuse me, what? You just have Wind Waker powers?
You got Wind Waker powers, and then suddenly the rain stops. So the way that you can kind of like dynamically change the weather in this game is linked to this, and the first one that you have is clear skies, and then later you get ones that like make it stormy. I think there's one that turns it to night, and makes it foggy and stuff. So, I guess it's raining too much, and my flute didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
Oh well.
Oh yeah, I might be misinterpreting, but that seems kind of like a game changer, wouldn't you say? Like, oh yes, I'm just a lone samurai warrior. It's me against the world, and also I have magical weather and day control powers.
Jin is a low-level magic user. He just doesn't really know. It's like, whenever I play the flute, like the weather changes to whatever I want it to be. But that's here we go. Now the game catches up and turns it to daytime.
Ah, thank goodness.
I love this white tree forest. It's so pretty.
Yasuhiro cannot learn the heavenly strike.
So are you learning something new, or did you already learn the new thing?
No, we're going to a place to then learn something new.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is a longer quest than I thought it was going to be.
It's got a bit of a like carrot on a stick situation, you know?
I can't change the weather because it's in the story that it's lightning storming right now.
Oh. Of course.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a plot, I just wasn't really paying attention. Focusing on keeping the conversation.
Yeah, sorry, Chad. I'm afraid that the magic weather-changing flute is not historically accurate. I know. I'm disappointed too. This is a very dramatic set piece.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be a fairly simple side quest.
See if I can do any work with assassinating enemies. Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? Maybe I can. Can I not challenge this guy to a face-off? Fine. Do it myself.
Oh wait, are we still doing that like lightning strike thing?
The heavenly
the
strike.
thing with the cutscene? Okay, I'm on the same page. All right. That explains why it's keeping that mythic vibe.
Yes. Alright. And up we go, and then theoretically we'll have a duel, we'll get the magic, and then that'll be that.
Dueling ring. What has
Heck
Yasuhiro
yeah.
been doing? Poor man. Killed by Yasuhiro.
Ooh. Dead. Alright.
Blade has seen
That's a
many
sword
swords.
in the earth. Bad for your edge retention.
Footprints. Still fresh.
But very dramatic looking.
Yasuhiro Kuro. The butcher of the rebellion. Time hasn't changed you.
You were a child when Yorikawa burned, boy. 15 years, I dreamed of cutting Lord Shimura to the bone.
Man, there's some really dramatic stuff going on. If only I knew what it was.
The old man taught me
Oh,
legendary
gosh.
attack before I killed him.
I mean, it's kind of
Let me show you.
it's sort of in character, you know. Jin has his own priorities, but he's like, all right, I'll do the sword thing. All this crazy shit is happening, and he's like, yeah, all right. Can I go rescue my uncle now?
Yeah. So this is one of the few places where it basically turns into a Kurosawa duel, where it's explicitly like, here we go, long setup, close-up shot on Jin's ass, and then very dramatic. Obviously, it's not a one take. It's long and drawn out, but there are many different cuts. And he does a little flick of the sword. Yeah! Oh, that's so cool.
Oh man. See it in a second, but yeah, honestly, there's a level of extreme drama that you can't really get away with in a live-action movie made in the 50s, you know? Can't exactly do the rain, lightning, crazy shit,
Yeah.
all that jazz. Super long. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure we're gonna lose this fight.
What are you waiting for, boy?
Not waiting. Studying. Learning.
So this is basically an in-game boss fight.
Yeah.
So I can't actually tell who you're fighting. Is this a Mongol?
No, he's a samurai, but he's I don't know what his deal is. I'm gonna be entirely honest with you.
Okay, awesome. Wearing down his health bar pretty well.
Oh, I did it. Oh my god.
Excellent.
Wow. The very end, I pressed circle and triangle and unleashed the heavenly strike. And then he exploded.
Oh, that's the best kind of ending for a duel.
Neat. Oh, well, I know what I'm using all my my resolve points for. So I guess that's what it
Wow,
is you can use the little yellow orbs in the bottom left corner of the screen to either heal yourself or use bonkers attacks like setting bad guys on lightning.
Yeah, he literally exploded into like a little firework.
Oh, samurai on the Mongol side. Okay, cool. Gotcha. What a rebellion. Neat.
Yeah.
I promise I'll use Shigenori's
Gotta say,
technique
watching him
to protect
explode is
Tsushima
hilarious
against
because
all
I don't
who
have the
would harm
game
it.
audio. So it's
Oh.
just like sword fight, and then he just goes.
I'll watch a cutscene of someone fighting that fight better than me, and then I'll get the full experience later.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, we learned the technique point. Isn't that swell? Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Heavenly Falcon, strike without wanting. Options. Sword kit. Oh, new sword kit. Oh, that looks awful. Oh, cool. I hate that. I'm gonna stick with the Storm of
Thanks,
Plain
I hate it.
Sakai. Awesome. Well, this has been really fun to play around and
Yeah.
see where we are. Oh, we're all the way over on the map there. Oh, look at that. Look at all this empty stuff that we haven't filled in yet. Well, I'll have to do some more exploring
Wow.
later. But yeah, and then of course there's the entire top two parts of the island as well. So yeah, we're having fun. Thank you all for coming on the stream, having a watch, enjoying this game with us. We'll see you on Thursday. Red, anything
Thursday?
to add
Yeah.
before we bounce?
I'm looking forward to more game, more Kurosawa, more samurai goodness.
Good stuff. All right. Enjoy
Yeah.
your Tuesday evenings, Wednesdays, and Thursday morning and afternoons, and we will see you then. Later.
Bye.